So, kind of to how this came to be and why I put out the tweet, just so you guys have a general idea for everybody watching. I was like chilling this morning and be like, okay, major's about to happen. There's going to be a lot of new faces. I think this is the first LAN we've had since season 1 where like no world champions, like previous world champions are attending. So there's a lot of like varying experience, I think. I think Nick, prime example, is obviously you've got a lot of rookies. Obviously Drees is going back with his 3rd different team, which I think is pretty fucking cool. But like for the other two, it's a totally different perspective, I think, with you going. Xperia, obviously you guys are working on implementation to new playstyles. Obviously you have some young kids, but you guys keep losing to the LAN winners. So like you're in the running, but you have that big upset match that you have to get through. And then for Chrome, like you've been there, done that. Your experience speaks for itself. So both as a player as well as a coach. So ideally I would get 2 NA, 2 EU, but I also know I'm doing this last minute. So just kind of an open thought process of like how everything has gone down, and that San Diego in itself is going to be different as well from what even I think Xperia is used to. Primarily because it is a DreamHack. Out of curiosity, Chrome, obviously I know you have, but Xperia and Nick, have you guys been to DreamHack before?
Nope. That was way before my time. That was like a champ.
I mean, I don't really know too much about what's happening at this DreamHack. Let me look it up.
I know there's a Fortnite event going on as well. At least I hope that's announced, because if not, that would be really bad. But I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't know if it has been, but it is now.
I think it is.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. There's fighting games, RLCS Winter Major, and an SPS mobile challenge on their website. I don't see anything.
Maybe there's not Fortnite shit. To be honest, I actually don't know. I thought I got told that, but maybe not.
Well, okay. So if you, Xperia, have you been to a DreamHack before? I don't know if you've ever attended one in like Europe. Okay, so for those that are unaware, like DreamHacks are more than just like when you go to an RLCS major or world championship. The exciting thing is it's like it's all for Rocket League. Everybody there is for Rocket League. Everybody there is for one reason. But with DreamHack being a convention, like Rocket League is just a small portion of it. And I also don't know what to expect with this one, just because it is like Psyonix is now in partnership with them as a production team. So obviously there's going to be an emphasis. The major, I assume, would be main stage and have a lot of focal to it. But there is also like a bring your own PC land. There is also still booths and different indie developers. And like there's going to be a lot of different things, I think, around the space too, to like get into and entertain, especially if you're just a regular foot traffic attendee. I always look back at DreamHack 2017 when Muffin Men won and remember distinctly the Rocket League stage. People kept stealing chairs from other games because there was like a HCS event going on. There was a PUBG event. There was Hearthstone. There was something else where they were running also like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 tournaments. And people were taking chairs from those places and bringing them over to the Rocket League. So the Rocket League was not only like the predetermined chairs, but then also a bunch of like flooding of chairs around it as well. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. So I don't think we've ever seen Rocket League get like main stage like attention. It has always been side panel stuff. So I don't know. I'm hoping that it attracts more of the general audience and the general people as well.
Yeah, I mean, but don't you have to pay like an additional 10 euros? I don't think like people can just like get chairs in that and just go watch.
I would assume that they can just stand and observe. I don't know why not. I think it's for dedicated seeing to have like a guaranteed spot because people are flying in for it, obviously. But I would assume that, like, I don't know I'm gonna look it up. San Diego Convention. I don't know what the floor plan is gonna look like. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious because there's a DreamHack.
Yeah.
It's all around, I think. Is that what you mean? Like stage in the center and crowd around?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like that. Like I think it'll be a stage.
I mean, you sure? Because on the ticket section, if you go there to buy a ticket, it shows like around. So.
Now, for all I know, it could be like how they did DreamHack Dallas, where when CS was the main game, they had their own like little section like a completely different building, exclusive. But anyone was allowed to go in.
I'm almost curious if every game's gonna be in front of the crowd though. Like obviously every other LAN, like the first day or two is like studio. I almost wonder if it's gonna be like kind of like old DreamHacks where everyone just stands behind you and it's like, all right, good luck.
No, I don't think they'll do that.
No, probably not.
Kind of messed up.
Yeah, like I think you guys are still gonna get like your own practice rooms and all that kind of stuff, and you guys will have like the what do they call it, Swiss Abyss or whatever the name it was. But
what?
It's what they called it in Sweden. The like you guys had that like
The studio.
Yeah, there was like the offside area or the offsite. It wasn't offsite. It was just to the side where like everybody had their pods, and then there was like the main stage that like the feature match played on. I think it was Orb who called it the Swiss Abyss. Also, the website for buying tickets is broken, so that's cool. Like it's permanently loading.
Brilliant.
Let's try it with a different browser, see if that helps. No, it doesn't. So yeah, I can't even check to see if the seating. It is assigned by section. If you do not purchase an RLCS Winter Major add-on, there will be some standing room available. That's what the website says.
If you look up the floor plan, it's really weird. Like it looks like maybe that it's just gonna be like maybe like a ballroom type thing. I don't know. Like it may be similar to like not Worlds, but on like a way smaller scale. But how many tickets are they selling for this? Like
I have no idea. I mean,
I don't think they've announced the capacity, right?
Probably not. It's difficult because I can't find like any information specifically about like DreamHack anywhere. Like I've seen San Diego. Like here's a link or an image to San Diego from like previous years, just for your guys' sake. So like that stage on the right is where I would assume you guys play with dedicated seating, and then the like BYOPC. But like from what I saw, the layout for San Diego was like BYOP, like your bring your own PC was like to the top right out of the way, and then they had stuff below it. But I don't know if they're gonna do like the arena setup where you guys are surrounded when you play, or like what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Because like there's an image here. Like if you search San Diego DreamHack floor plan, the first thing that shows up is RLCS stage and then the section surrounding it. But then I click on that and it doesn't load.
Unless it's like LA, where we're on that stage and just like the crowd's there, like basically like on top of us type thing. Well, I guess in this case it'd be under us, but
yeah,
that's the only thing I can think of. Rather than like fully circular, it's like just half circle. But that's not what the ticket said, so fuck knows.
Yeah, the image I'm looking at, like I click it and it breaks. Like I can't load this. Like if I wanted to buy a ticket right now, it won't let me. That's the image that it's associated to. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was the one I was saying.
Yeah,
that's why I was saying.
There's got to be like a dedicated section.
I would hope
so.
So.
They put it all in that massive room.
I just don't know where they're gonna like. I don't know where they're gonna put it in the venue. Like that takes up a ton of space, and I don't know what seat capacity is either.
I mean, just make Rocket League in the mid and everything around.
Put it in the very middle. Everybody else has to walk through everything else to get to
it. Yeah, exactly. People need to watch it.
Yeah.
If they, yeah.
I'm down. 3-day pass. So there's a 3-day pass. I'm fancy bringing your computer, no problem. Come join us for all 3 days. 3-day pass, but extra benefits, merch voucher, premium registration line, and a badge instead of a wristband for an extra $90. Jesus. 1-day pass, and then 1-day family pass. So like if I look at a premium pass, then you can also, if you want to, attend the DreamHack party if you're 21.
What a great weekend to turn 21 though.
Are you?
I turned 21 the week before.
Nice.
Like we fly out to boot camp on my birthday.
Oh shit, hopefully you don't ruin your boot camp with your bad tendencies.
Wait, when's your birthday?
March 28th.
28th, Jesus.
Yours is right around there too as well.
Mine's
no?
the 29th. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Well, if
So
you guys
that's
are both
very
there and I find myself there, first shot
I
is
mean,
on
I'm
me.
not gonna be there that early.
RLCS is exhibit all Hall H. DreamHack is D through H. Okay. San Diego Convention Center layout. Shoutouts to Cakes in chat for providing information. Let me check out this floor plan. Mine's the 31st. Damn. Okay. What was 9 months before March?
So wait, if it's 3 days, so there's gonna be crowd for 3 days instead of
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
That's kind of lit.
Yeah, so normally it's 2, right? But because it's a DreamHack is typically a 4-day event, actually. Most DreamHacks and PAXs are a 4-day event. But DreamHack is going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So normally you guys would do like V1 would do a watch party for 2 days. So if they do one, again, we haven't seen any announcements, so I don't think it's going to happen. Otherwise, they're a little too late. They got 2 weeks. So normally they would say, okay, Thursday, Friday, we do a watch party at a venue or whatever that people can attend for the public. And then Saturday, Sunday, you guys would watch. But now we get to see the 9 through 12 elimination lower round 1 matches. All floor plans I've seen show circular stage setup. Cool. Yeah.
Surely everyone plays in front of the crowd then, no? Because they're not going to do what?
Nah, top 12. I
No,
think.
top 12, I would say.
Yeah, but if it's 3 days instead of 4, you're not going to play the entire group stage day 1, are you?
You might.
No, you'll probably play 2 games.
God, those are
Yeah,
Yeah, I
long
thought
fucking
the
days.
same, but if they make 2 streams, they might just do it, honestly.
Well, they might have to do a dual stream and like an A stream and a B stream, but out of curiosity, like you're technically talking right now, Saturday is only 4 matches and Sunday is only 3 matches. So that's going to change, knowing them. Because they've been doing 7 on
First
Sunday.
day will be 8 on the mainstream.
Yeah. Like I assume they'll do 2 from each group in some capacity. And then, so yeah, Thursday will be 2 from each group. Then
Friday will be the last
Friday,
one. Then
Friday will be, I mean,
bracket.
that's 12 matches, dude.
And Saturday's playoffs.
No, they're going to stagger it even more. They're going to do, if I had to guess, they'll do 8 matches of groups, 2 from each group in some capacity. Or they'll do like group A and B in completion. You know, like they'll figure out how they're going to do that.
Man, that would suck. If,
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no way they do group A and B just fully day 1,
No.
right? Because
So-
No, they'll do every group.
Yeah, so they'll do 2 matches from every group on Thursday and Friday, which will then give us round 1 matches, which are elimination matches, and then they'll also do quarterfinals, I can guarantee you, on Saturday. That would be my assumption. So Saturday, to me, is going to be all round 1 and quarterfinals.
So Thursday and Friday, we're probably playing max 3 days. But if it's Friday, surely everyone's in front of the crowd then.
Yeah, which is cool. I think it gives the
Oh,
opportunity for
yeah.
people to get some premier matches on stage. And then Sunday will be semis grands. That is how I assume they would do it. Playoffs will be all Saturday, Sunday. If I had to guess.
Hopefully. I don't know. I always thought everyone should be able to be in front of the crowd, like especially at small events like this. Like I never understood why Friday wasn't in front of a crowd. Well, I mean, I understand logistically, but like it kind of sucks. Like if you're at that lower side.
I mean, this is how it operates in other spaces too. Like, realistically, it's a time constraint, right? Like, it takes so much time to air that many matches, and if you want to show all those matches, like, you're talking weeks to broadcast that, and like, you can't, for venue reasons, be open that late or expect production to broadcast 14 hours a day for like a week straight to get all those matches shown.
Valid.
So the way they should do it is, you know, there should be a multiple stream feeds for the teams that you can then tune in. There's no casters. It is simply just director mode, and you get to watch. That way you can tune into those matches, and nobody misses any of the matches. But then you guys play you know, technically quote unquote off stream. That's the way that I know they do it with like big open pool stuff with like Call of Duty in the past. I know they've done. I thought they did that with like League of Legends way back. But we haven't seen League of Legends in something like a DreamHack in God who fucking knows how long because of Riot's, you know, budget and what the heck they do now. So yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see how they do the scheduling. But if I had to guess, they'll do 8 matches the first 3 days, and then the last day will be the final 3, probably with like a show match or a feature thing that they do. They've also teased in their season 10 announcement that something is possibly going to be announced and to keep an eye out in 3 weeks, which aligns perfectly with San Diego. So who knows what they're
And
up
I
to.
always thought show matches should be involved more. Like I remember Los Angeles, like right before we played Uchrome, like I told Strange just like this stuff's like so hard on players. Like because we had been there since 8 a.m. like with Queso.
Yeah.
And we had just played series after series after series. Like we didn't have any time to eat or anything, which like that's not an excuse for why we lost, right? But
Right.
it's just that like I always thought like having something like even those freestyler tournaments, like I know most of us like personally don't really care about them, but like give the other people a chance to shine. Give us like an OG show match. Like I think that's one of the coolest things about the CS majors when they do them is they always have something.
I think LA overall was just like a mess. Like when it comes to like everyone having to shuttle over. I mean, I think a lot of that happened because of COVID. Because during that time, everything was locked down, and then once we got there, everything kind of lifted up. So like having to travel to the Face It studio, and only like I think 4 teams could be there. So like you couldn't even get a good warm up at your specific time. You'd have to pull another team. I remember like literally we'd have to scrim case at 9 a.m. and then they'd have to scrim us at 4 p.m. because that's when we played around then, just to have a warm up. That was pretty crazy to me. And then even at the venue too, at the YouTube place, there wasn't even like practice rooms for everyone. I think I'm not mistaken, or something along the lines.
Yeah, because I remember you coming into our practice room because Dan needed a bathroom like 10 minutes before you played.
Yeah. I don't think we had a bathroom in one of our rooms.
He goes down to the bathroom.
That place was a mess.
I think it's difficult for show matches. Like I think the number one thing is if they are going to have like a dedicated venue, like if they're going to do another Rotterdam or where they have the rights to the place the entire time, I think they need to do more things for the people there. I've been lucky over the last year to go to more sporting events, whether it be Lambeau and stuff, but like NBA games. I'm not the biggest like fan of basketball, but I've been getting into it more lately for personal reasons. And you can tell there's a large emphasis on like the show, like in arena hosts and during breaks and commercials and all that kind of stuff. Like they throw out t-shirts, they have like the the games that they play with the crowd and stuff like that. And I wish that Psyonix would really lean into that. If you got a 10-minute break plate and stuff, it's cool to show like content and featured content. But during that like 8, 9, 10-minute countdown, if you had one of the broadcast talent that's right now is only casting like maybe 1 or 2 games a day, if that, to have maybe dedicated staff to do stuff that is crowd interaction, crowd interviews, or things that you can obviously do so you don't have to worry about it going out to the public. You don't have to worry about it being a thing that may not be perceived well by the stream, but it is something special for the people that are attending, that are paying money to go to your event. I think it's something that they don't do enough of. That would really add to the experience of, I spent a bunch of money to fly here and go and do this thing. And doing all those types of things to make it a unique experience of like, hey, how do we drive sales to our seats? We'll make the experience in person like nowhere else. Like you don't even get codes for exclusive decals anymore or wheels. So I think it's something like that they could really lean into, but it's difficult to do those things in addition to, like, if you're already running 6-7 hours worth of matches and then I also have to wait for stuff because you want to do freestylers of this and that, it's going to deter viewership and it's going to make everybody frustrated. Plus for players, that's a long fucking day, especially if you guys play early.
Yeah, but the thing is like that's the exact same thing. You can't be saying, Nick, that you want everyone to play and then that you want to have like short days. Like it's either you have like only like top 8 teams or something play on the stage, and then you can actually have like short days, or if you want to have like everyone play, then you're never gonna have short days. So it's like you gotta decide on what you want. If you want everyone to play, then you gotta deal with it and do 7-8 hours days, on Sunday, or just to top 8 like CS:GO does all the time. Like for example, Blast, when it happened in Lisbon, one of the best I've ever seen. Top 4 I think only played on stage. The amount of things did aside from games, like they had show matches, they had interviews, they had just like the caster just like hyping up and making people. And why? Because they only have to focus on two games a day. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like we're really asking for both of them. It's either like top 8 gets streamed on and you get an amazing out of the games broadcast and a lot of things going on, or you get everyone being broadcasted and it's the worst day for the players and coaches.
That's fair.
What do
I
you
guess
what do you guys prefer?
Top 8 only. Honestly, like imagine you qualify for the major, but like you still need to fight for the crowd. Like I remember in London, for example, it was top 8 qualifying for crowd, I think. And I'm like, it's like we were fighting for it against G2. Like we were like, boys, we just came all the way to London just to stay here and not go to top 8. Like, yes, we fought for the major. Yes, we're fighting off stage, but we're still fighting to make the crowd. So like, there's more to the tournament than just being there.
Yeah.
So like, it gives like another objective for teams, making crowds. Okay, made major, now make crowd, now we make whatever.
It was the same in Los Angeles. It's just like, maybe I'm just biased because like I think the content aspect of this game definitely has a lot to work on, like to actually push like fan engagement. I'm fine with longer days, but I know I'm probably in the smaller majority of that. But it's like, I was thinking more just even like, if the fans are already going to be there Friday, like even if it's like old DreamHack style of where they're just close around you, I think that's fun. But I totally get where you're saying of like fighting for the crowd and like being in front of it, because like that was kind of the enjoyment of Worlds. Like you're in front of 2K people or 1,000 people, whatever it was, and like wildcard, and then you get in front of the shit, was it 13K, 14K, like in the actual arena. But I feel like there has to be a balance, man, because like from a personal fan perspective, like what is there besides the actual matches? Like I feel like there's gotta be a little bit more like we could do to like push something, right? Like not us personally, right? But like the game itself to actually develop it. Because
I think the difficulty is we just had a big new competitive season get announced. We're being honest with ourselves. It's a new map. That's it. And that's supposed to hold us over for 4 months. Which is not enough. I think for the content side of things, there is a lot of struggle. And I don't know if it's because of the balance that they're trying to put efforts into UE5 or what. But the game itself is, you have some cosmetics and this and that. We can talk about that and reiterate that, but I think everybody knows. So when it comes to the esport, I think you are trying to balance what could be a let's do it right, kind of the less is more approach. Only top 8. We only have a couple matches a day, so we can really focus in on those matches, making them the best thing possible. And it is an honor and a privilege to be a part of that you have earned. Because you are only focusing on those things and you can build those up, it allows you to put emphasis on the other things that are going to help retain viewership, make things exciting, you know, the supplementary content, like the giveaways, the crowd interactions. Like anybody who watches Counter-Strike knows that Counter-Strike is built different. That event in Rio was unbelievable, watching what they were able to do with the crowd and everything else. And I think Rocket League has that capability. I think there is very passionate people in this fan base. But I remember as broadcast talent getting to do E-League. Chrome, if I remember correctly, you did 2018 as a coach?
The second one.
Yeah, you did with Energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember as broadcast talent, hey, we have a double elimination tournament. It's a lot of matches, but the in-studio days are 3 matches. Like Championship Sunday was 3 matches. And you're telling me as a broadcast talent, even if I work every single thing, that's only 3 hours of work realistically. Yeah, I come in early for makeup and prep and tech rehearsals and all that kind of stuff, but I can give my 100% on that show because I know it's 3 hours. I'm good. I can spend all my energy, and it really emphasizes those moments. So it's kind of that short and sweet mentality, but then they can put that emphasis, because we don't have a 16-hour day, into the other featured content, which is really, really cool. And everybody still has a ton of energy, and everybody's still raring to go. And I feel like if they took that approach, like Xperia said, you know, only 8 teams. I don't know, man. I think it's a really cool way to do the supplementary stuff, because I think for a lot of us that are watching, LANs are great because we do get the content that is more special because the people are there, right? You get to see the Scrub versus Justin banter. You get to see the Rizzo, you know, funny retirement stuff. Like those things just don't happen outside of LANs. So
yeah, And there's more things like in Dota, you have like one of the things that, like, because our mental coach he plays Dota a lot, and you have the TI after movie or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like having that type of stuff going on, like I actually have like a broadcast team going like around the teams, like the team just lost, actually just recording that, like no voice but just recording them, like, and then like bring like an after movie after it, but they were able to focus on that because like it's not all games, because what happens right now, it's like a team loses, they record a team losing, 20-minute pause, ads, whatever, new teams joining in, okay, start of new game, best of 7, cut, 20-minute, repeat. Like even like I don't think much about RLCS like game 7s or game 5s. Like whenever I see a series going through, like, oh, game 7, I open up and watch, close the stream again. Like there's no point in watching. It's not funny. It's just a repetition. Like I've already seen these matchups like 10,000 times. Like I don't know. There needs to be a lot of work on everything. They have a good esports, they have a good game, one of the most played games in the entire world. They just have to work on it better.
I think a lot of it just comes down to the money. Why spend the money when they don't need to?
Yeah, I mean clearly they do though. Viewership's down more than it's ever been. Like regionals were pulling 100k plus viewership. Now we're lucky to get 60. Obviously, watch parties can be accounted for that. Kamito, and,
yeah, I mean,
but like Kamito and fucking Critical are the ones that are carrying it. Like,
yeah,
I mean, but is content really gonna bring those viewers back though? To be fair, I don't really think so.
Potentially, I think if you're trying to cater to a mainstream, if you're trying to cater to a mainstream audience, and you actually put emphasis on promoting and marketing your event and having pieces that invest the other side of it too. And I know Nick, you and I have had this conversation about post-game interviews and loser interviews and the importance of them. I don't know if any of you guys are F1 fans or watch Drive to Survive. I just started this week. The whole show is from a negative mentality. It is people going through struggles and frustrations. Not once in the season and a half I've watched has it been like, we're on top, things are great. It is coaches, managers, players, drivers, all pissed. And it makes you feel for those players and care about their story and become invested. And yet our players go, I'm sad I lost, wah, and then they don't do it. But like, if we had film crew following every team, being able to watch all their stories go through, I don't believe Rocket League would, like, I think it'd be impossible for Rocket League as an esport to not grow if they did that level of production and quality and provided those stories, because those are the videos that do best for teams usually on their own personal channels.
I do agree that like those type of videos would help, but that's the thing Chrome said, it's like though that is not going to bring like viewership up. Like the problem with Rocket League right now is that like this is like way too repetitive. Like imagine Johnny Boy said like a thing in Twitter the other day about the 1v1 worlds and or whatever, and like even though I hope if they ever do something like that they don't do it in an RLCS system, I think that would bring viewership up just from a single reason. Who wants to watch, for example, like what was his last two splits? GNG and Carmine Corp making finals every single time, and us or FaZe trying to take them down a few times. Like it's boring. It's the same thing. We're watching it's like watching the same Netflix show 6 times in 6 months. Who's gonna watch the same Netflix show 6 times in 6 months? No one. We need something different. We need like matchups to be like interesting. That's why like I don't agree with the formats. It should be like a league system or something. Like we're gonna play Carmine in like 3 weeks. People are gonna be waiting for it. Like they know we're gonna play them or something like that. So like, yeah, we play them this week. Let's wait for the qualifiers. Oh, there's no qualifiers because it's invitational. Okay, we play them again in finals next week. Just repetition. Oh, it's funny because we could lose to them one time. Now they won. No, it's not funny. It's just boring. Just keep playing the same team all over again.
What is your... Do you have any concerns about... The reason why I like open circuit and stuff is because it has very much so increased the level of competition.
I agree with open circuit.
So my concerns, I guess, is like with those featured matchups and all that kind of stuff with different formats. Do you have any proposals of how we can get those outside of what we have now? Double elimination, round robin groups into single and Swiss.
No, there's definitely like way better ways to do things. Like you can make it a closed format with invited teams or like partnership teams like CSGO does, and still have slots or spots for the non-partnership teams. by doing that, now these teams have more time to prepare for more tournaments. By this being said, you can make less tournaments. I don't know who said it, but it was on a podcast, either CJ or Izzo, I don't remember, where like remove one split, make 1 or 2 more lands in that split time. Maybe make only like 2 regionals, something like that. Make the regionals like more important. Right now, like imagine what happened with us. Every single split right now, we made top 8 on the first regional, and we've been seed 3, 2 in 2 of Europe. How is this possible? If this was only 2 splits, you get punished, and that's what you need. Like, you should be being prepared for those 2 regionals. Like, it's like the most important thing ever. What happened right now is like so many regionals that like you can legit do 2 bad regionals. Look at V1, top 12, top 12, and they're still maybe making major. Like, what is going on? No, if they make one top 12,
not even
like
V1. Look at
out.
Fucking Optic, dude. Optic didn't even make it out of groups twice and still had a chance if they won the whole thing. Yeah, it's a good point.
Shit, look at us. We didn't make weekend every time, and we still made the major.
No, NA definitely collapsed. But I mean, even having less regional, I think the whole problem of regionals to begin with is just like it's very repetitive and stale. Like,
yeah,
I think the whole point of Open at the beginning was cool because you had what 32 teams that very first split, and it was like, oh my god, this is really cool. They went from 8 teams to 32. Oh, anyone could win. It's like that whole selling point was really cool. And now they dropped it down to 16 every single event, and then running 3 regionals with the same format, the same thing, and it's just like not exciting anymore.
Yeah, and I think people have a misconception of like they just say, oh, if it's not open formats like that, are the teams like the top 16 or top 24 teams like getting better at the game? And like, I don't know about NA, but I know about you. Like most of the teams on the top 24, they don't have orgs. If they do have orgs, they don't get paid almost anything. So it's like, even if they're making it to RLCS, they're gonna go there, qualify once or twice, not even make a K. 1k euros, nothing. That's not even enough to make a living off of it, and just keep repeating it. Okay, wait 3 months now, make another 1k or 2k. Maybe you get an org that pays you like a measly 500 euros a month or something. You can't even make a living off of it. It's not good. Like, people don't understand, like franchising or something like of a sort would be the best thing for the bubble scene, just from the fact that like now there can be a proper investment on a bubble scene. Because yes, open format brought so many good players, so much good talent to the scene, but it's like, yes, there's still good talent that's gonna come, but that good talent should develop on the bubble scene, because you seeing the downsides of the downside of having these young kids right now. Imagine like one of our team's biggest struggle is like school, the mental side of it, or like 15-year-olds are putting through like the most stress of it. Like, if there was like a bubble scene to prepare these kids to it, like they could be there like 6 months, 1 year, be prepared, come to the pro scene after that, franchising, way better. Like, franchising is like what the bubble scene needs, end of the deal. And if people can't understand that, it's because they just don't understand anything, in my opinion.
I totally agree.
I think if they just, I mean, they went back to like a league play with 16 teams, like, it's realistically, right, there's very rarely any new teams, at least in North America, that make it to the regionals. So I think 16 teams is good. There's like no bubble scene though, I feel. There's not like anything that builds up those players like you said. Because every team is poaching like the star players everywhere, so those star players never develop in like a league below as well. So it doesn't develop the talent around them. So you're just never gonna see players break out. And then especially with orgs, like you're not gonna get a skin in a game to get ROI. So unless you're like a top 8 team or like a team that makes worlds or these lands, there's no point in those orgs investing in those bubble teams either. I feel like at first it was cool with all the orgs coming in, but then there was just kind of like no follow-up plan to that, I think.
So about a year ago, I put out a video about increasing the age limit and restrictions and some of the things that could come with that. And it goes hand in hand, in my opinion, with franchising. I think right now, obviously, there's a lot of complication and limitations because of how young our player base is. And there's only so many things you can do because of missing school and trying to be courteous to that. And you can't operate to the fullest of capacity when you have restrictions of young kids holding it back. The financials of having to bring parental guardians, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of restrictions. And I think 17 or 18 is kind of the idea. And you put in a grandfather clause to make sure that the ones that are currently competing that don't hit that are grandfathered in. The other side of that with franchising is, my concern is obviously there's going to be a lot of people that do see the opportunity to get into Rocket League, and there's going to be a lot of nasty people that get involved for the wrong reasons. And that will always be a concern because I want to make sure that obviously the players and the staff and stuff are taken care of. But I do hope for the day and age where there is franchise and academy teams. My like true esports background before watching like Halo as a kid on like TV when I was growing up is League of Legends. And I look at how League of Legends has developed with their franchises. and that they have a main street, like a main team and a sister team, and that sister team lives in like a secondary house that is attached to their facility that they use to build and foster talent that then gets the call up if one of their starters is not performing well. And that provides exactly what you guys are talking about. There is structure, there is an amateur scene built in, but now the orgs are more invested to take care of those people because they are taking the time to put effort and emphasis to not only build them for media purposes, expose them to how things work, but without the struggles and the stresses of being on a mainstay roster in an esport. It is, you know, secondary to it. So that way they can still go through the ropes of competing in an amateur league and like a challenger league and learning kind of the tricks of the trade while still being exposed to what it is to be tier 1 or in the mainstay. And allows them to kind of slowly integrate into that system. Obviously, that is a lot of money invested. And the only reason orgs are going to do it is if they have, again, significant financial compensation or investment into the league with power to make decisions. No organization is going to do that when you are dependent on 15, 16, 17-year-olds determining who is on the roster, this and that. Like, that stuff is going to have to be taken away, which is why League of Legends then came in and made a labor union to make sure that minimum salary guarantees and protective things with their contracts so they don't get screwed over and dropped last second. Which is also cool because if you have a team that has a sister team, it's not that you get removed from the team, you just get demoted to the B team and then you have to work your way back up. So there's a lot of interest in kind of the perception of like franchising bad, open circuit, this and that, when it does provide a lot of structure and sustainability for players of all levels, not just the top. So it's interesting to see that. And if you do have these secondary teams, you can go and pick up a player that is 16, 17, keep them on your roster until they are eligible to compete in the official league. Curious on your guys' thoughts on that.
One of the coolest things, like, I think would have been, like, if this works, it'd be great. Like, at least from what I can tell with CS, which I'm not great with it, right? Is it has, like, the partnered and franchise things, but it still has enough lands where if you go as an unfranchised team and you just win it, you're at Worlds pretty much anyway, or you're at the majors anyway. I think that would be so sick for especially teams like Xperia last season. Like, if there was a DreamHack before Worlds and you guys won that, you just got an auto invite to wildcard. Like, teams could hypothetically win it. Granted, most of the teams are probably going to be like top 5 NA, top 5 EU, which it just earns your region another spot, right? But it's that idea of like, okay, you still have that openness to the format, but you can still have like hopefully less online events, but are more franchised. Or let's say the partner and franchise teams get invited to the lands. Because like I totally agree with you. Like when you were saying there's too many online events, like let's be honest, none of us actually want to play online events. Like those are the worst parts of this esport.
As a viewer, man, I don't want to watch them either. If I'm being honest, it's just not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah. Like imagine if we had like 2 splits, 2 online events, and then we had the 3 or 4 DreamHacks a year, and we had the 3 or 4 3 majors, wildcards, worlds, and probably like a Gamers 8 or something like that, right? Like assuming that comes back. Like you have 6, 7, 8 LAN events compared to like 6 online events, and that way you actually get to see every team and like international matchups.
Yeah, but the thing with that is like if you just keep stacking lanes as well, like you're gonna like take value of the lanes as well. That's another problem. Like I think the main concern you need to focus right now is like making sure like not only people want to watch the online circuit as well as the LAN circuit, because like right now what you're just like, it's what I said, like we should add more lanes as well, like 2 lanes, but like if we just start stacking, it's like Gamers 8 as well, it's like it's gonna be the same. Basically, people are just gonna be bored of, like, of watching lanes as well. What's the point?
I think the thing is you need to find a way to make those lanes unique. Right now, I think a lot of the issue is everything is copy paste. It's rinse repeat. There is no time allocated to give a chance for something different. The BTSs, the Gamers 8s, the whether you guys love or hate it, the WSOEs, E-Leagues, any of that kind of stuff, right? You need to find things that are unique that stand alone from RLCS, but also still provide potentially that emphasis. It would be awesome to have a tournament organizer have the freedom to go and do what they want, and then say, with Psyonix's approval, winner of this gets a wildcard spot. You don't have to go. If you've already secured your spot, if you've already made and you don't feel like doing that and you want to take this time as a team to relax, work on your mental, take a step back, go ahead. But for those that don't, you can come and approach and come to this event. Not required. Don't have to attend.
I mean, you have the G2 situation in League. It's like one of the things that like I remember someone saying it like 2 weeks ago, and they actually did it. They qualified for the mid-season invitational in League, and now they still have the spring split going on. Their entire G2 roster just is traveling to South Korea. I think they're gonna be there practicing with the best teams in the world, while they just like got 5 new players, a new coach, a new analyst to just play these 3 months, like this spring season, while their actual team is practicing for the mid-season invitational against the best teams in the world. And then they do the tournament, and after that they're just back, and those 5 players now they got their chance to play on the franchise league, maybe get new contracts in the future with better orgs or orgs that like are interested in them. It's like franchising, it gives that opportunity. It's like League of Legends is known to have like the best esports, and yes, Valve is there, but for one reason, Valve doesn't touch the esports. Everyone else is touching the esports for them.
They do, but not in the way that people think.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're very hands off. Just to clarify for the general audience, Xperi's talking about primarily Counter-Strike. Valve is very hands off. They pretty much give open guidelines and allow tournament organizers like Blast and everybody else to go fucking crazy. ESL Cologne, all those stuff. Amazing tournaments that are run extremely well. Valve basically doesn't say or do anything when it comes to Counter-Strike esports. That's why new tournaments come in. You saw Cobblestone implemented. Those are all community made things. The HLTV plugins, all the spectator stuff, all community made, because Valve goes, cool, it's awesome, let's do it. They have a small team on their esports team that kind of oversees, and basically when those tournaments are ran, they make sure like, hey, we would like it if you guys do these things, please cater to those things. And then other than that, they fuck off and they just let the organizers do their thing, which breeds competition. It allows more unique approaches to how things should be ran, and it allows Valve for free to see what does and does not work. It is awesome, but it takes a lot of faith and trust. It also helps that Counter-Strike's been around for 3 decades. 1.5, 1.6 has been going for a long time. So there has been a lot of that refinement process over the years. And for some reason, esports orgs and developers always feel like they have to go through the trials and tribulations themselves before they can be like, oh shit, that's what works. And then they do it themselves. Like, everybody does it. Like, every new developer that gets into esports has the ability to look at other esports and go, oh, shit, they did that for 6 years this way. Maybe we shouldn't also do that. It also doesn't really apply to our game, so maybe we should try it. And it's a learning process. So while it may work for Counter-Strike, there is no guarantee that it works for Rocket League. But I do think a lot of the reason why it wouldn't is because of the age. I just don't think it's possible to justify people traveling and doing that much because we're like, it's too young. I just don't think it's the thing. So
I mean, that's why I said just focusing on making sure the online is way better, because I mean, look at Valorant. I won't even say league because I even think the Valorant one is way better. You have regional leagues from like every country, and then like on America, you have like the America one, the Brazilian one, and like the top team from, for example, Europe, the top team from each region, at the end of it, qualifies for like a tournament, and the winner of that tournament qualifies for franchising. Do you know the amount of orgs that are putting like thousands and thousands of euros just to get their best team in that said country, or like the teams that like they think they might be the best team, fighting for that one spot and like for franchising? And then people say, yeah, franchising doesn't help the global scene. It does. If you have systems like that, you're gonna have insane amount of orgs that, for example, don't have to waste money. Like in Dark Zero, for example, joined the scene expecting to have one of the best teams, or I don't know what they were expecting. And then
yeah, we don't need to go with that.
yeah, and then it's like if there was leagues like this, even if the team is not performing at 100%, they are still performing maybe in like a America League, not in the top 16, but maybe in like the top 24, like for 8 teams. Like if they are top 1, maybe they can go to another league, fight for the one spot to make franchising in RLCS, I don't know, but there's more going on. Right now what happens is like an org wants to invest in a bubble scene, and even if the team make the top 16, they're gonna go there, just get a stream for like 200 viewers, get top of the bottom of the group, get out, that was it. What is the investment? Like for the players in the orgs, there's no investment.
Yeah, like I can't count, like it was really interesting to hear what you were saying about the European bubble teams, because in NA, like, the amount of orgs that are investing like mid 5 figures to maybe make regionals was crazy. Like, especially at the start of the season, like per month, right? Like, not overall. Like, I don't understand why an org would genuinely join if they're not getting a skin right now. Like, there is really nothing. Like, I think that structure would really help a lot. Because, like, you go, sorry.
Yeah, even before this whole like Valorant franchising thing, you had this one thing that like Valorant was doing it like 10 times better as well. It's like the amount of orgs that want to put money. Okay, make a league, invite all these orgs to that league. The top 4 is streamed on Rocket League broadcast. So it's like those orgs are getting more viewers just from that small league than they will ever have from just being a top 16 team in RLCS. Because it's a fact. Top 16 teams in RLCS get nothing basically. They're just gonna go there, get 200 viewers on their stream, get top 4 on their group. If somehow they make it out to top 12, they still have to pray to even get streamed on the mainstream. And if they don't, yeah, that's it, you're out. No one even saw you playing. So what's the point?
Sorry.
It's you can speak.
With like minor regions. Like, I've never understood why, if it doesn't like line up with NA and EU, why Championship Sunday isn't streamed on the mainstream, even with like their own casters for South America, APAC, SSA, etc. Right? Like, I guarantee most people, like casual viewers, right, probably don't even know when those things are going on and don't care about them at all. Whereas if you put them on the mainstream and you say, hey man, like, we'll give you drops or whatever. Granted, half of the viewers are probably bots, right? But even still, 27,000 to see Northwood Blue versus Akron Blue quarterfinals of CRL right now. Like, imagine like the Asian teams getting that viewership rather than the 1,000 viewers they get right now.
I mean, that's
I think a lot of it has to do with like a language thing. I don't think they want to just mash everything together. If you're just a viewer and you hop in, you hear like someone speaking Japanese or something, you're like, what the heck's going on, you know?
But all those streams have like American casters.
Oh, is that?
No,
not
they
South
don't.
America.
Yeah,
No,
in Middle East,
they all have a Portuguese or like a native language and American broadcast, no?
not all
Maybe
of them.
Not on their mainstreams now.
Obviously,
No.
APAC obviously does do English, because like Bass and those guys are on it. But
I swear South America did as well.
there is definitely the desire, but Psyonix's intentions with the Rocket League channel is to provide a precedent being set. When you go to that channel, you have some sort of expectation that is reliable, and when you start introducing those other things, that changes. Difficulty, obviously, we all know the website was promised for this year. Well, this year has long and gone, and we're now 3 months, almost 3.5 months into the next year. So who knows what's happening with that? Who knows if that website ever comes and it delivers on the promises of like, hey, it's going to be the place you want to be on game day outside of Liquipedia. So the fact that it's not only late, but that's a pretty hefty promise, and I don't know if we're ever going to get it. But there is a lot of, I think, difficulties in growing a scene, and it takes trust and staff to make it happen. I don't know how many people, if you guys know, but the Rocket League Esports staff, I think, is 11 people, 12 people. I know it's grown a decent amount, but I say that, and it's still only 12, like maybe 13. Like, I would be very comfortable to say that the Rocket League Esports staff for a premier broadcast and a premier esport is 15. Riot is 130.
Jesus.
I mean, they're not afraid to waste money. While Psyonix, I mean, they make so much money. I don't know where it's going. So
it is, I think, stemming from usually the top down, and is needing them to understand that this could be a profitable business and not a marketing expense. And if they really wanted to dedicate to it, it is going to be a risk, but you need to hire staff, pay them what they're worth, and allow them and enable them to do their jobs. Can't oversee it. You hired them for a reason. Let them do what they need to. I am so happy that they hired Helman Lee. He's the newest hire, and you already see his impact on the things they're trying to do with the bubble scene, bringing in the Radiant people for a 40K women's tournament, and those types of things that not only allow you to add engagement and support for those scenes, but also make profit off of them. Helman Lee did amazing things for both the Valorant and the League of Legends amateur scene, and found ways to get sponsors on those so they're not burning money, so they're sustainable. So I'm really hoping that they continue to bring in people with experience of that level and enable them to do those things. Because it's one thing to hire someone who has the resume. It's another thing to kneecap them and not allow them to do their job. So there is a delegation issue, I think, and it stems from the top. And I don't know if it's their perception on Rocket League as an esport or not. Because I remember the very first day of Alpha and them, like Psyonix at a core didn't want to add a ranked playlist in Rocket League. And it was Gibbs through forum conversations that said, you are out of your mind if you don't turn this into a competitive playlist. So I think fundamentally, and the ideology behind Rocket League stems from the top. And I don't know if that is ever going to change and give it the due diligence it deserves and has earned through the popularity that the esport has provided. So I am curious to see, because I do think we all agree on Rocket League has so much potential to turn into something special based upon the other esports and stuff. There's a lot of things that I think if you copy pasted Rocket League into that, like the Counter-Strikes, like the Valorants, like it would be absurd. It would be absolutely absurd if Riot was the developer of Rocket League. Can you imagine what things would be like? I don't think they would be a guaranteed success overnight, but I know the love and attention Riot does, both from being in their offices as well as seeing how they operate. And by no means are they perfect, but I know the love and attention and the money they spend to be successful. And it has paid off. You don't sell out an Olympic arena in 2 hours 6 years ago without doing something right and have fucking Imagine Dragons open the show and people actually be excited about it. They've got fucking metal albums that go platinum. They have songs that they make for character skin intros that go platinum. Like KDA blew up. And you're seeing Arcane, a show that is about two sisters and lore in the video game, transcend the video game itself and become just a good show that everybody can enjoy. And those are efforts because Riot has invested into what their game is. More than just, it's car soccer, we want it to be a traditional sport. So all of these things are prime examples, and I think League of Legends is obviously a unique circumstance because they do have the depth to the game, because characters, abilities, champions, all that kind of stuff. And I think the one thing that would be really cool to see to get people invested is I would love for them to flesh out the lore of Rocket League. If there is any. And if there isn't, time to start storyboarding.
Just say you want an anime of Rocket League.
No, I don't. I don't think it would make sense.
Like,
but
I would an actual car driving.
I would love to know, are the egg people just default placeholders in Unreal Engine? Why is there game files with like shopping recordings over intercoms and stuff that allude to things? And also, why are they so secretive of it? Like, if you built an ongoing story to grip people from season to season, like they do with Fortnite, people might actually give a fuck about the releases you put out and are invested in this ongoing development. And like, I think Rocket League is desperately missing something to grip people. Like, it is copy paste every single season, both in the esport and otherwise. And I think people need something extra or something different to draw them in.
I mean, I think a lot of the copy and pasting, I think it's because they have, I like to assume they have everyone all hands on deck with getting the game either on Unreal Engine 5 or they're making something else.
But the issue is you can't do that and expect success when you don't talk or communicate effectively. Like, no one knows what the fuck they're working on.
I mean, the artists do, that's the problem.
And like, UE5, I hate to break it to people, isn't going to be here for another 2 to 3 years at the earliest. Do you think they have that much time to get away with it? Like, I don't.
I mean, if I have to say, the only thing that's really keeping me not, I don't know what the best word to say, but like calm, it's the fact that like Liquid, for example, they left Apex because of how bad and how like they deal with the esports, because they have like weekly calls, and I know Liquid has weekly calls with Psyonix and they haven't left the esport. and they want to stay in it. So I know whatever is happening behind the scenes is good, because if it was not good, they would have left it. So that's the only thing that's keeping me calm. I don't know if it's like things for the next season or the season after, but I know the future is going to be good, because if it wasn't, I don't think even Liquid and maybe other orgs that are in contact with Psyonix would just leave in the first place. So it's like,
I think
that's the only thing keeping me calm.
Amazing to hear, because we all know there was at one point a open letter from 13 organizations signed saying, if you do not communicate with us better, we are leaving. So to hear that they have those regular conversations and that they are doing those things is a very good sign. But how are people who are watching this supposed to keep hope when they don't know that stuff?
I mean, but it's the same as me. Like, I know that they're doing for those calls, but I don't know nothing that's going on inside. Like,
Right.
as far as I know, it could just be like a 24 team major next season, and that's the announcement. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
So that's the thing. It's like I'm in the same seat as everyone else. The only thing is that I know that there's like an open line of communication between Psyonix and the orgs, or at least Liquid. I don't know if it's every org.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely the bigger orgs.
But I look at that though, right? Like, the only reason you know that experience is because you were a coach of one of those and have been privileged to hear that information. But I'm talking about your everyday average user on Twitch, Reddit, whatever. Why would they ever get to know that? So they don't even get to have that level of calmness or that peace of mind, because why on earth would they ever hear it unless, you know, you say it on stream and they get to hear the clip, or, you know. So they're just left wondering, and it has always been a concern. Rocket League, when it first came out, was amazing for communication. They interacted with the community. They even did streams with developers and stuff. And people felt heard. And now I understand Psyonix wants to be protective because they've been burnt in the past and they don't want to promise anything and then not be able to deliver on it. Look at the website. But I don't think people are going to, like, people just want to know anything. Roadmap, whatever. It doesn't have to be specifics. But if you said, hey, this is what we're working on right now. We are putting efforts on UE5. There's no expected time. It's going to take time. We're working on it hard. We have intentions to refine some of these things. Don't know what it's going to look like specifically, but like we're working on some stuff. Here's a general idea of what those things are, very broadly. I think the community would be ecstatic.
Didn't we used to get roadmaps?
Yes.
Or am I tripping? Yeah.
I want to send you a link to a TikTok that I got the other day, and I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a guy that is claiming that he works for Psyonix, and he mentioned, I didn't pinned, and he mentioned
I can tell you right now, it is not, because there's no way he works for Psyonix and isn't making TikToks.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
There is...
But yeah, this guy's like, he's been staging as a Psyonix employee and saying that, yeah...
Psyonix would never in their PR minds allow that to happen.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, but I got that the other day and I was like, yeah, that it's not true, but I'm not gonna say if it's true or not until someone else can tell me otherwise.
Like, when's it coming out and what is it gonna do for Rocket League? Well, here's some answers.
He does look familiar though.
Now, I'm sure you guys have seen this trailer.
That's what I was thinking as well when I watched it.
It's foreshadowing the future. One dragon being
yeah, it might just be memeing. It just like
and then becoming one.
I don't know. The thing is, like, I think he has more than one. So it's like one thing is memeing, another thing is like faking being one. Like, yeah, he has like 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay, he has tons
The
of.
one thing I will say is his bio says RL satire.
Yeah, this man is definitely not. The
Okay,
issue is that's TikTok.
I don't know what's a satire.
That's TikTok 101. That guy is literally lying through his teeth. But the people watching don't know that.
I mean, what is a satire, by the way? I don't know what the meaning
Satire?
of
Satire is like sarcasm, it's humor.
Yep.
Okay.
Comedy.
I've never heard the word before.
That's fair. Yeah. It's like exaggeration, humor, irony. But
Yeah, so he's just the average Joe, just memeing about the Unreal Engine 5.
again, the issue is he's presenting it in a way to make it sound like it's real. But the issue is the general public is going to see that and take it for fact. But for a Psyonix employee to not only make a TikTok, talk about things behind closed doors, use profanity, name another developer, etc., never in their fucking lives would Psyonix allow that. as
Yeah, let's be honest, they're all under NDAs. Like realistically.
yeah, I mean, I remember when I was doing stuff with ESPN for the Brawl, and like I couldn't even answer questions on ESPN's broadcast unless the questions were already pre-approved by Psyonix and their PR team. Like they care a lot about their public image, whether things are great or not. As long as people are like, yeah, Rocket League's great, everything's awesome, all that matters.
I mean, but that's not true. People say Rocket League is great, but that's gonna stop and it's gonna keep stopping, and I don't know. Like maybe they had like some new thing in the future that like brings people again to the game, but slowly, like the game is gonna keep dying. Like yeah, I said it to people. It's like the next 2 years are gonna be like the definition of like if Rocket League is gonna be like a long-standing game in esport, or if it's just gonna be another one of those games that just sticks around for like 5, 6, 7 years and then just dies out.
Personally believe right now with the refinement process that is happening in this industry, because of the recession and the VC money and all that kind of stuff starting to go away, the teams and the games that sustain and survive outside of it are going to be absolutely massive. But getting through it is going to be tough.
I mean, I just hope that whatever ideas people are saying, because I think, I don't know who said it, but that it's one of like the best ideas I've seen it, which is like, and Valorant is doing right now. I swear to God, I love talking about Valorant because they do everything perfectly, in my opinion. They're gonna have the in-game system, like for tournaments, the qualifiers, you play it in-game, not on.
Well, that'll never happen with
server,
Rocket League, like. not with UE3. It's just not possible.
Yeah, but maybe in the future, and having like teams profiles and players profiles in game with camera settings and everything, and maybe even say the Twitter account of the players there or the team's Twitter account, and like help just by having that, just help the players' social medias grow, which helps the game because more people are following the players that play that game, and like stuff like just it's like an image. You just have to add the image to the screen. It's not too hard. It's just an image, a PDF file, whatever they want to add it. Not a PDF file, but an image to the screen, and people press and the image appears. It's not hard, it's coding, it's the easiest thing they can do.
Like imagine if you went to the esports shop and like you quite literally saw all the players' faces and you can like click on it and bam, it goes to the website. Like imagine that integration into the game. That'd be insane. Or even like imagine major skins, or not even major skins, world skins, just something like that to get back to the orbs.
No, but the major skins as well. Like imagine have like a decal based around where the major is gonna be, like San Diego. I don't know what is San Diego known for, but imagine it's the beach, so make a decal around the beach, and 30% of the profits from the decal are given to the orgs. What does that give? More sustainability for the orgs, because no org right now, aside from maybe NRG, makes money from Rocket League. Everyone just being sustained from other esports.
Or imagine even like you were saying with like the crowd and the exclusivity. Like imagine you get top 8 on a major and you get like a special skin from Rotterdam, like, or not Rotterdam, but any major.
I know, but that
like,
takes staff and this and that. Like again, it's things that I think they could do. I mean, I remember I put out a video when esports skins were announced the first time. I'm talking what, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. And I talked about like, hey, like if you guys want to turn a profit on this, guess what? The teams that make worlds, because we only had worlds back then, we didn't have majors.
Yeah.
You bundle them all together. All the teams that make worlds, you put in a worlds bundle, and if you buy all of them, you get a massive discount. Those are sales that normally wouldn't happen for these other teams, but now by doing that, you do a world championship skin. The teams that win worlds get a unique skin that is limited time only. You do like these things, like we have all thought of and we know they're all possible, but they still don't happen. They are still things that have not been implemented. We don't know why.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say, because it's like, if we actually like start thinking, there needs to be like an obvious reason why they do things his own way, because it's like in everyone's mind, everyone just like, yeah, like they're just being dumb. Why the fuck they don't do things? Okay, can I say F word here? I don't know.
So. I don't fuck if I care. Like we're
okay, I'll do that. Like they like why they don't do these things? Like what's going on? Like there needs to be like an obvious answer. There's like maybe we're just like, I don't know, because I haven't thought of it. I didn't even think that much. But like there needs to be an answer. I just wish we knew the answer for that without having to ask them, because I don't know, bro. Like,
have any of you, like as a collective, gotten together at an event and gone directly, like with numbers, you know, multiple coaches, multiple staff, all that kind of stuff, and been like,
Hang up on
yo,
them, bro. Like,
Murdy,
give us-
Murdy, we need to have regularly scheduled meetings. Like, we need to have a Q&A session. We need to, like, we just want to be able to give you guys feedback once every few months. Like, why don't we schedule at every major, the teams that attend, a night where we get to sit, talk, and provide feedback about how things are going, things we like, things we don't like, improvements we would like to see. I don't know if they do that, let alone do that with organizations or the people that are investing millions of dollars into their space as a team and their esport. I don't know if that happens. And if it hasn't, shame on them. Like I understand as a developer, at the end of the day, you have the final say. But a lot of it is dependent on making sure that the people that are playing in your league and taking time and money to invest in that, like if they go, what esport do you have to play and showcase? And it's like those feedbacks need to be applied not just in that regard. And you've seen some of those steps taken as well with like the general game, where they have hired third-party people, right, to play test and Q&A and do quality assurance stuff for the next patches coming out. Like those things are happening. They are hiring third-party people to do trailers and things to that knowledge that are from the community. But it's like you should be pulling coaches, managers, content creators, high-level ranked players, etc., and sit down with them on a regular basis to not only get their feedback and opinions on things, but then also make sure that if they have a new patch coming or new things coming out, have them sign an NDA, test it out, because they did that once. I remember when they flew a bunch of creators out to their headquarters. They had them sign a bunch of NDAs. They got to see the new stuff coming. Not only does that garner hype and, you know, basically allows those people to promote and talk about it to their communities, but it gives them real feedback.
But for example, let's say they do that, like everyone signs an NDA and someone actually leaks it. How do they know that who leaked it? Because if they don't know, everyone's just gonna be in trouble because of that one person.
Exactly.
And how can I, as an individual, trust half of this community when it comes to leaks?
That is the issue of where I think they are where they are now. I think part of the problem why they don't do this stuff is because they don't trust you fucking children. Rightfully so. And that's when they need to stick to their guns and actually fine you guys. It is one thing to say, hey, if you leave the match early, we're going to fine you. But then it never happens.
You can't find someone who leaks something. It's just not possible.
I know, but the rules that are provable, like, hey, we need you to stay until the end so the match score screen doesn't break, blah, blah, blah. But then they never implement those things. Like,
or even the camera stuff.
Yeah. Like those types of things, like if they're going to set those rules in place in order to be taken seriously, they have to, even on that regard, like you got to be a bad guy sometimes. Because otherwise they're going to continue to walk over you. No one is going to respect your authority.
I mean, I don't think they can ever enforce camera stuff because there's a lot of limitations for some people.
No, I mean, what he means is just like you leaving early.
The things, obviously there is
cameras and all that.
There is no perfect way of that, but I do think it is a give and take. Like there has to be a willingness to say, hey, we are going to trust you guys one last time. We want to be communicative. We want to build this to something special. But I swear if this goes out, and maybe you get choosy, maybe they only handpick certain people.
Oh no, they for sure handpick certain pros and certain people to talk to.
Good.
It's been done before. If it's still going on now, I don't know, but
yeah, I have no idea.
Done it before. Like even if they don't tell their players what's going on, there's other people that leak it anyway. So whether it be casters or staff or whatever.
I mean, I know there's a ton of shit that I know that I'm not supposed to from people. Not gonna get anybody in trouble, but I also know better not to say shit.
The entire season was leaked like weeks prior. Like at least thank God it was leaked because they only told everyone what the new season was gonna be, like the RLCS season, like one day before. So it's like if there was no leaks, then no one would have known like what were they expecting, when locations, everything.
God, that was ridiculous this season. Like it was genuinely a week before. Like I know we're talking like typically from like a higher up perspective of like where the team's already in regionals, but like imagine being a bubble player where you're like, fuck knows when I'm actually going to be able to play again, and just not getting any communication. Then you have a week to figure stuff out. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, the bubble players should not even be worried about that because they should already like have some sort of like smaller leagues or tournaments going on. Like, I think the main concern is like the players. It's like, let's say, like, I'll give an example. Let's say a Chronic. Like, a Chronic usually goes on family vacations on September or whatever every single year. And imagine this one time, they wanted to start the season in October, the second week or something. Because now they just announced it 1 week prior or something. Okay, either we get no practice or he's gonna have to cancel 1 month full vacation with his entire family that has been planned for like a year in advance. So it's like, yeah, priorities obviously, but it's like you can't really blame him if he still like misses a lot of practice because of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's really at fault?
No, that makes sense.
I think it's difficult. Do you guys think that's due to not enough people to help support and provide structure, or do you think it is just a operational issue? Do you think it is like, again, usually the stuff like scheduling and stuff shouldn't be an issue. Like, you would hope that at the beginning of the season they can just say, these are all the dates, it is what it is, these have all been locked in, get excited about it. Do you think they can't do that because they don't have enough help and they are trying to catch up the whole time, or do you think it's something else?
Yeah, I feel like from Major especially, I feel like, for example, Shyster, like on Major, I always see him like going around or like, dude, I swear to God, they're such a small team that like they're doing like 4 people work, like 1 person is doing a 4-person work. So like it's like they're not I hope, but I'm 99% sure they're not delaying like all these things because they want to or because they're like, okay,
Right.
let's just make a surprise. No, like they're definitely probably have way better or way more concerns on their ends and making an announcement of the season. You're like, yeah, but what's more important? Maybe actually figuring out if you have the location of the next major or like what's going to happen. Like, I don't know, like a lot of things that we have no idea, and we're not gonna have an idea because they're not gonna talk about it or hire more people to make it better.
I was gonna say, in an ideal world, we know next season by Worlds. Like, I think that would probably be the best timeline if you have like 2-3 months and you know when it starts. But I mean, I'm not with Psyonix. I don't know if that's realistically possible to like have that venue scheduled out in, when was Rotterdam?
For what?
Like I'm saying, come Worlds, right? You know how like they tend to do the announcement every major of like the next major's here, right?
Yeah.
Imagine at Worlds it said, okay, RLCS 23-24 starts here, and even if they don't announce the LAN location, like everyone knows right from Worlds. This is how long you have off. This is when realistically teams are probably coming back, like probably a month before, right? Like everything is known by Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing we're saying. It's like, I don't really think there should be like public announcement of like next season. Like, as long as the players already know when is it, like just make sure you're working on like a proper announcement for next season. Like, you don't need to rush out. You don't need to like take attention time from the Worlds to actually just make an announcement of like next season. No, like just focus on the Worlds, make the best show possible. Tell the players like whenever you can, like as fast as you can, like when it's the next Worlds, and then work on the best possible announcements for next season. Because like if you mix both things, it's like you're taking people attentions off from these worlds to the next season. So it's like it's not really productive in my opinion.
So your balance would be more like telling the orgs by, let's say, a week after Worlds, like, hey, this is realistically how long the off season is, roster, decal stuff, whatever, right? But then you announce it to the public probably what, like 2-3 weeks beforehand? Is that kind
even more actually? Like make it closer to the tournament. Don't make it so far away. It's like you have if you make it so far away, in my opinion, it's like people are gonna forget me now.
Okay.
It's like make it close. I mean, like 2-3 weeks before for the public. It's like, oh, things are gonna start now, whatever. Like I don't know. But for the pro teams, everyone, it's like tell them like 3 months prior, like let them know like, yeah, you have 2 months off. Have fun. All right. See you in 2 months.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Because like I just kind of don't want to see an RLCSX again. Because like I don't know if you remember Chrome or I forget who you were with Xberry for RLCSX, but like that shit was leaked like 3 months in advance, 2 months in advance. Like people knew about the open format, at least in the scene. I think I can say that, right? But like That's the only concern of like when they start telling players like it'll get out really fast. Like I knew about the season start super early this season, and that's not necessarily right, unless you guys think it is. Like, I don't know. I look at Epic as such a company where everyone competes, right? Like the open format's kind of ingrained in it, and I know that's how they see Fortnite as well. So that would be my concern. Is like I just feel like they don't tell us shit unless they're telling the general public as well. Like maybe we get a little bit of a heads up, but not much, and it's usually the bigger teams that get told.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, it's understandable. And I can tell you 100%. I bet with you, there's like such players. I was like, maybe like, I don't know, like, but there's definitely players out there that they know everything that's gonna happen. They just have NDAs and they just act like they don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal. It's the top dogs of the scene. Like, it's what they do. Like, they just, why would they say like imagine like the new players on the scene, like the 15-year-olds, like 16. Why would they trust a 16-year-old with like information that like leaking it out could cost them actually money? Because it would cost them money. From like they just waste so much money on an announcement that just got leaked by Shift. And it's like, yeah, like Shift helps like with like the host removes and everything, like building hype around the team, etc. But like not like for season announcements.
Yeah,
a season announcement should be special. So be like, okay, yeah, this is what's up. Like they have like a 3-minute video, or whatever. Like they're wasting thousands of euros, like hiring people, making the best announcement possible, just for like a 10-message tweets. Yeah, new season starts this day. 4 majors, 1 world. I don't know, like whatever it happens.
I think if anything though, like they should have an expectation of like what exact month usually is gonna be the start time, instead of like having to guess. Like you don't know like when you can take a vacation a lot of times too. Like especially like after Worlds, like am I allowed to take a vacation because we don't know if the season's gonna start a month early or a month later. It's like it'd be nice to know at least the start of the season is for sure just stagnant in 1 month. Everything else is fine. You know, you can take a break during those times, and then when that 1 month hits, you got to be ready to play.
Yeah, I think that's
just standard.
Where they should start. Yeah, they should start by that. You know, like just say the dates. Like with some like to some teams, like maybe the top teams, like say the dates. If it gets leaked out, then just start hiding again. But like slowly try to build the trust again of like keeping everyone like informed of what's going on. But the thing is like they're just afraid, and they have a right to be afraid, honestly. Like, but every esport, everything is leaked. Like right now, like people say that like, oh, we have Shift. Like, dude, Valorant is even crazier than Rocket League. They have like actual like people like getting paid thousands and thousands of euros just like to be snooping around and knowing every single thing that's happening with the scene. And like it's crazy. And it's like there's guys that post a YouTube video about talking about news, and like in 1 hour it has like 10k views. And it's like what we have like John Sandman making YouTube videos getting not even like 5k views talking about Rocket League news. So it's like people actually like don't care that much about Rocket League news.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, it's a harsh reality. But there's a lot to unwrap with what you guys just said. First things, just for your guys' sake, back when I was involved, I know specifically that production and staff would years in advance, I'm talking like 2-3 years in advance, would scout out locations. They would, over the course of like 2-3 months, take a bunch of trips to a bunch of different locations, check it out, see what was possible, all that kind of stuff. So then they could go back, pitch that to Psyonix. Psyonix then determines which one makes sense for the budget that's being provided. So like that stuff is done very much so in advance, because availability of venues is like, you're talking years, plural, potentially, out in advance that have to be determined. So there is definitely those types of things. It's like they should know the land locations and all that kind of stuff very much so in advance. But there also is the balance of making sure that if they do promote it, 1, it's not too early. 2, everything that they need is in line with ticket sales, all that kind of stuff. Like they have to make sure that all their checks and balances are done before they go public with those things. There's definitely a logistical side of that. But I do agree, the sooner the better, because then it can allow people to plan and prepare for it. If you're telling me I'm trying to book flights and I've only got a month in advance to do it, you're missing out on a lot of people. I can't budget for that. So there is definitely that balance. And I do think it does stem from just needing more people in general to just help, you know. Imagine if Murdy had a team of like 5 underneath him that he could delegate so he could focus on the big picture stuff. And again, I do think it is a lot of manpower that is just needed. So they are expanding their team and have, but I still think it needs to be more. And I think they also agree. It's just easier said than done right now. Esports in general is going to have to go through a refinement phase. They're going to have to trim the fat. They're going to have to make sure that the people that they do bring in or the ones that they currently have are busting their butts, because a lot of money is going elsewhere. The nice thing Psyonix does have, though, is Epic Games money, and the revenue from the game engine is aplenty. So doesn't mean you can spend it frugally, though. So I think we all obviously agree on a lot of things about implementations and improvements and stuff that can be done. But we also are all very self-aware that that stuff does not happen unless the ones that make the decisions are the ones doing that. And as much as we talk about it, as much as we want to educate about it, I think we all are very appreciative of the things that Psyonix does and working on. We understand it's not that simple. We understand that it is not easy to do the things that they're doing under the scrutiny and the pressure that they have. And there's a lot of things behind the scenes that we do not see, the public does not see, that they are working desperately on. Like, from me personally, like, I know Murdy and that team work really fucking hard. The amount of hours those guys put in is absurd. And it's still, a lot of people is always going to want more because they are invested and they're passionate about it. So while things aren't perfect and we're critical of those things, it's not because we don't care, we don't appreciate it, all that kind of stuff. So clarifying that 100%. Would like to shift gears and focus back in on DreamHack itself, because we have not talked at all about teams, players, things that you guys think. Like, we went on a tangent about, like, yeah, fuck this format, all these changes, but none of us have been like, yeah, I think this team is butt. This is why this team's not making it out of group. So if you guys are down to it, let's focus in on the major itself. Let's talk about some I want to get you guys' thoughts on very, very easily, what 4 teams do you have not making it out of groups? You guys can go one by one. I don't care who starts.
All right, I'll start.
Cool.
G1, Falcons, Gaiman, KCP.
The last seed in all of them. You suck. Boo.
No. Okay, it may be the last seed, but let's be honest. No one, and most people are taking Crew out. Most people are taking us out. Gaiman, yeah. And then KCP, maybe they make the miracle, but I don't see it.
Hey man, all it takes is one upset.
Yeah, but if it's an upset, I see them being 1 and 2 versus. I see like 3 teams going maybe 1 and 2 rather than like just 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 2 and 1, 2 and 1, or like 3-0-2-1, 1-2-0-3.
What about you, Xper? What do you got?
I'd say Crew, Dignitas, Gaming Gladiators, and Pioneers. Yeah, I think that's my bottom 4. No reason for that. It's realistically, I think it. Yeah, won't make it. Dignitas might be like my least favorite pick, honestly, because I can see them winning against Falcons, but it's like.
Correct answer.
Do you feel that same way if Nick isn't here?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Because first Falcons
sure.
still have a best of 1 against the Visa, so.
Yeah.
Nah, they'll be fine Visa wise. They have the ones from Worlds now.
I think now they're squared away. They should be okay, but you just never know.
I'm just more worried if they're gonna show up the day before, like what happened at Worlds with the other MENA teams.
I mean, they're gonna do that. It's already announced.
I mean, like
they have
like what day they show up is.
They have a LAN 2 days before the RLCS LAN, so it's like they're gonna show up, have media day, and then show up for the major. So
yeah, it's not good.
It's not. They fly April 1st. I already talked to them because I'm like quite close with that team. Like they said, they fly March 31st to April 1st, so they get out same time as everyone else.
Oh, so they're not.
Because you guys have media day usually on Monday, Tuesday, so they're gonna fly second media
Tuesday's
day.
media, Tuesday, yeah.
And then
Tuesday and Wednesday media.
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday, yeah.
The Monday, which is the 3rd, is the day off.
Everyone arrives, yeah. Everyone arrives.
Yeah, they fly Saturday, so they get here Sunday. So they're chilling. They got time. All right, Chrome, what's yours?
Same as XPR. It depends on what Falcons we get, I think, because if it's the Falcons that we prepped for Rotterdam, where they weren't playing the game and they didn't look that good at all in ranked, and then I heard they were struggling in scrims and not showing up to scrims or whatever in Europe. So if there's that same team, I could see Dig maybe stealing that, because playstyle-wise, Dig is very similar to how we played, and I feel like it's a good matchup for Falcons. So I can feel like that can go the distance, but I would say the same teams: Crew, Dig, Pioneers, and Gaiman.
I feel like people are sleeping on that Crew roster, man.
Nah. They're
I
not.
like G1's playstyle for LAN. That's why.
Be honest, Crew and G1 do the exact same thing, and if you have to put both of them, compare, like, they have a LAN experienced player marked by 8, and they have like Atomic, who's, even though we feel like, as in Liquid, feel that like he's not been the best on the team, at least against us, like he's still like pulling like 1.3 ratings, and like he's playing good. And it's like in Crew, they had to go to a tiebreaker to fight it, and G1 had to go to a tiebreaker against us, best of 7, go to another best of 7, and another one. Like, they are a good team. They might not be a major winning team, but they are a good team. I don't think they'll lose to Crew, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with Chrome in the sentiment of G1's playstyle. I think translates really well to LAN. Right now, I think they're extremely defensive, which I think is easier recreatable. The difficulty, though, is like I know their upside when they start playing aggressive, they start challenging, they start, you know, really moving out. They look solid. Like, I just hope that their LAN veteran can instill that level of confidence for them to feel comfortable to be able to transition, because right now, like, I think they are like capped at like at best top 8. I just can't see them beating. Like, I think they're gonna be competitive, but
like the thing about Mark Bait, it's debatable, because like Mark Bait not only was like the only reason that they actually made it to game 7 against us, he was also the only reason they lost against us. Because it's like they timeout, first thing you do after a timeout, kickoff, Mark Bait pre-jumps goal. Like everyone like, oh my god, like we're gonna win, I just pre-jumped him, blah blah. Like game after or 2 games after, I'm already like telling Yoski, just fake them on pre-jump. They're gonna pre-jump every single time, just fake them. He does it, Mark Bait gets faked, we score a goal, Mark Bait doesn't pre-jump a single time again after that, we win game 6 and 7, like we were not even playing the game, we would still win it. So it's like, yes, like he can bring that experience and he can bring that like motivation for a team, but at the same time it's like they play way too much aggressive and way too much risky, that like if things are not working out, it's not gonna work out and you're just gonna get fucked, honestly. And I feel
like if anything, they'll feel the nerves, obviously, if they get to that bracket play, which I don't think they'll get that far, honestly. But I think when it comes to that first day, I think they'll be fine, because qualifying for LAN is going to be a lot more difficult than those first days at LAN, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
They're not going to be as hectic.
Yeah,
I agree with you. They were all over the place, like pre-jumping, playing super aggressive. Not really. It doesn't seem like they were communicating well, because they started double committing with Mark by 8.
Yeah.
I was watching his games, so I just don't see them completely bottling it out of groups. I just can't. I don't think Crew's good enough for that.
So out of all the teams that are making it out, so we get rid of Crew, we'll say Falcons/Dig, based upon what you guys say. Nick, obviously we know where you're at.
Yeah.
And then Pioneers. We then still are left with those 12 teams. Out of those 12 teams, which ones do you guys think have the highest highest spread, where they can perform really, really high, but they can also just bottom out and just get out super early?
Oh, Falcons for sure.
Complexity.
Bro.
Are you talking about like the teams that are not bottling it?
Yeah. So like you make top 12, you're round 1 or top 8. A team that could have the potential to not only make it to the grand finals, but also potentially just be like, yep, you go 1 and 3, bye.
I think Carmine, honestly.
Really?
They might just, because they might just have the same pressure they had on.
Nah, they won't have their
major.
fans there. I think they'll have no pressure. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll make it further than what they did.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, like the pressure of like they dominated the entire split. They go major top 8. They do the exact same thing again, and now they're there on the stage playing against fans, and we never know. Honestly, it's like,
I think if anything, is Gen G has the biggest chance to fail.
Gen G with the home crowd. Gen G with the home crowd, I think gets more pressure than Kato.
I mean, everyone is expecting Gen G to win compared to Carmine, so I think more pressure's on Gen G, and then they just lost the last event going into a major.
I mean, I meant it more like from like what we know from the insides. I can see Carmine legit just going to the major and just 4-0 everyone. Like, I'm not joking. I can see Carmine going to the major and 4-0 everyone, but I can also see Carmine just out of nowhere, like no one's playing the game, and it's like I don't know, Vatir and Itachi playing the game and maybe Exotic just bottling it.
I think just the expectation of, oh my god, KC fans, Blue Wall is going to be in the building versus
Maybe,
when they go
yeah.
to LA,
You might
it's not
might
gonna
be right. You might
festival.
be right. You might be right 100%.
I
I agree with that.
I think you're
100%.
right in the sense of like if they make it to a semis or a grand finals, they might just absolutely bottle it and just get destroyed because of Exotic and Itachi's first appearances in those situations. But I don't know. I don't think like in quarterfinals they're gonna completely
Yeah,
do the
but they
same
get
thing they did in
bracket
LA
fucked.
or Rotterdam. I mean,
Like their bracket's kind of ass. Like if they win the group, right, you're playing more than likely Group A second place, which is a G2 or a phase. Like that's a rough, especially like.
What you mean? FaZe is actually playing good.
No, that's what I mean. Like that's a rough quarterfinal match because
Okay.
G2 just show up online sometimes.
They
Like, they're
also haven't
inconsistent
lately.
they
as
also get extremely nervous too.
Yeah.
If I was Carmian, I'd want to play G2.
Oh, me too. That
Playstyle
quarterfinal
wise, they
match.
would eat them alive.
Give me that G2 match quarterfinals. Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking like crowd's gonna play into it because like
I personally think that G2 definitely has a mental hurdle right now. Once they get past it, they'll be okay. But I agree desperately with Chrome about K-Corp. I think going into that crowd in Rotterdam, even as favorites, when you have an entire section for you and everybody else is rooting for Moist, that is a ton of pressure that you're trying to live up to. And when you have that online, it's one thing. Like those fans are still going to be super supportive in chat, online, etc. But when they're not there because it is the other side of the world, I think they are now used to that kind of pressure, but they don't have to deal with the drums and the fact that their owner is streaming right behind them and stuff like that. Like that is, I think that's going to allow them to focus and be more tuned in on playing the game. So I think K-Corp will be okay. I think it's gonna be a lot better for them this time around.
Hope that like after
Appreciate it,
the
Wonky.
major,
Thank you, man.
people start realizing like that Hitachi is actually like the player that people don't say it is because
He's so
he's
good.
insanely good. Yeah, he's insanely good, and people still say Vatira. It's like, dude, Vatira is insanely good as well. So is Itachi.
I'll just
They
go
have,
ahead.
they have a strict play style that they follow, and it allows everyone to shine. So
People forget that Itachi's been doing it since season 3. Like, guy's been around for a long time. Yeah, he qualified illegally and then got the boot, but like,
what?
so
When he was at
Was he banned as well?
Itachi played for a region that wasn't eligible. So even though they qualified in season 3, they had to forfeit their spot, and then he sat and just watched from the sidelines for seasons until he moved to France and became eligible again.
I never knew that, honestly.
Yeah,
his first ever event was like a DreamHack.
It was
He played with I think Extra and Mout.
Yep.
I
So
think.
yeah, he qualified season 3, being from Morocco, and was not allowed as a region at the time.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's back in like the Red Eye days and like Team Deception, and back when like Lucky Bounce with Timothy and whatever the heck those names were. Gosh, Vince were like star players in NA. God, what was that roster that he played with?
Hello and classics that he classic that he made it with.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like
Jeez.
Itachi was fucking cracked back then even, and then he didn't play for God, how many seasons was that?
He didn't play for a while.
He was with, was that the Shoot and Miss team or was that the Penguin Zentox team? I forget.
Zentox that he made it with originally, and then
Oh yeah, he was a sub on Shoot and Miss. So Zentox was Itachi, Hello, and Classic. They qualify as top 8 over Red Eye in season 3, which means that they would have played in the RLCS. That was season 3. He didn't start for a team.
It was season X, I think.
Yep.
So you're dude, that's fucking 8 seasons. Like 7 or 8 seasons that he sat on the sideline before he became a starter and still is performing at the level that he is.
I mean,
It's
that's
incredible.
what it's called, grinds. Yeah, and that's why
It's
like
incredible.
a lot of people need to start understanding like the age limit of Rocket League is not 22, 23. It's just that like the ones that are retiring now, they just stopped grinding the game like they should a while ago, and now they tried it too late. Like you have big examples like Metzenor, and like Metzenor is like everyone was like, oh, he's a big grinder, but like when he should have been grinding, when he was still a pro, like on the top levels, was he actually grinding super hard? Not like 1 year ago, like 3 years ago. Was he actually grinding, or it was just like, okay, I'm in a good spot, let me just maintain hours?
Well, back then, at least from what I'm aware of and what I know, is like there is so many LANs, and then back then as well, like for some reason in EU, everyone were on the same hours, like 50 hours in 2 weeks, 60 hours in 2 weeks. So, and then when it came to the LANs, they all grinded super hard, like how it is nowadays. That's why they were able to be on top of NA as well, because they pretty much just got better at LANs. But online, they didn't give a shit. But nowadays, obviously they got punished for it. That's why they've all fallen off. Is a lot of the EU pros now, well, at least the ones at the top, are grinding harder now.
Yeah. And even if like because it's like there's like becoming a misconception as well, which is like quality hours, it's way better than quantity hours, because a lot of people just like grind their asses off like 8 hours a day playing twos, and it's like, bro, you're not getting better at the game. If anything, you're just creating bad habits, you're just losing, you're not even at the top in ranked, you're just playing stupid, being dumb, honestly. And now you say, oh yeah, but I have 100 hours past 2 weeks, so I should be playing good. Like, nah, you're playing bad because of those. Sorry?
I was saying it's hard to gauge now, like what quality hours are, because back then it was league play. So like a lot of those players, they didn't really have to play too much in that sense. They could just grind it right before the LAN. Whereas now it's like there's 3 events that you have to qualify for the major for. So it's hard to gauge like what are quality hours now. Just tough for a lot of these players. Like getting burned out. I feel like that's like the part that's the toughest right now that no one's really solved. Like, what's the good like amount to put in?
For us, what's been working is just go chill every time you want. 4 days, 5 days before the tournament, just play the game. And I don't know, because I don't know what it's like with Daniel, with school. I don't know if he's in school, but like, for example, Atoe and Oski. Chronic is less because he's in less grade and it's less hours. But Atoe in Oski, it's like the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., then 1 hour break, come to home to practice for 2 hours. Like it's not even quality hours. Most of the time we just cancel the second scrim. So it's like, you just started, honestly.
What I know at Dan is he's homeschooled, but he plays an obsessive amount of Rocket League, which is what got him to that point of like being like considered top 5 in the world. Which I think it could hurt him in the long run. It depends on just how his motivation is in the future. Like he could be like a monkey mood, he wins and then just completely like realizes, oh my god, you know, I did so much of this and I don't know what's next, yada yada. Which is what kind of monkey mood is going through right now. And his monkey mood did that same thing where he's just putting in an obsessive amount of hours. And yeah, I mean, it just depends on the person, right? You know,
yeah, 100%.
I've experienced the same thing, because like Evo is one of the few NA players that like actually go to school. Like, not to disrespect online school, but a lot of North American pros, like that's how they balance it, is they'll just do online. Like I know Drees does. I know on past rosters, Rise did it for a certain amount of time. Joyo does it, right? But we have the same thing. Like usually, like what we've been doing is we'll just make scrims best of 7. Not like actually cancel it, but like we'll only try for the best of 7, and that's how we balance like him actually being tired from school, because it keeps him locked in just enough. And it's like it is really hard to balance with school and stuff, and that just comes back to the age debate.
Yeah. Well, what we did was we actually stopped scrimming against like lower than top 8 teams, because like before we would scrim those teams and everyone would be tired from school or something, and like we would just like start like tryharding, destroying them, and we'd be like, yeah, like this is not good, and just canceling scrims. So like we just started like only scrimming top 8 teams. That way we can't actually complain if we're like, oh yeah, we're destroying them, but yeah, like maybe just a bad day or something. It's like, so we have to stick to the scrim, but that's probably like the only thing.
You guys scrim 2 hours a day or 1 hour?
2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours.
I was curious if every team's like Oxygen, where they scrim like 1 hour a day or something crazy.
Yeah, but I think Oxygen is because of Rise, maybe, with the race thing. But for example, we do 2 hours a day, but it's like there's like, okay, 1 day off, and like maybe 1 day only 1 hour, because since we only scrim the top 8 teams, sometimes it's hard to get like double scrims. So it's like people might say, yeah, we could be putting more hours, but the thing is like there's a lot of the top 12, top 16 teams that we've tried scrimming, and we just keep 7-0 with them every single scrim, and it's like they just went from an 8-hour school day to come home to just like destroy 7-0 in scrims. Like, what's the point? we're just wasting hours. They could just be actually just chilling a bit more, just I don't know, talking with their like do more stuff outside of like their life, actually go out with friends a bit more, like or do exercise or actually just play ranked because it's probably better than scrimming against those teams.
I mean,
because it's actually something you said in the past, like
those things
we
actually
prefer
have value.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, we
being able to
prefer
focus on your
play
mental
ranked
and again, there's
yeah.
that balance of like, hey, we need you to grind, we need you to put in hours, but at the same time, when you have those opportunities to be like, hey man, go spend time with your friends, go take a load off, like that shit, I'm sure is way more valuable than, you know, coming in 7-0ing a, you know, a top 16 or to like 24 team. Like, yeah, I'm sure they appreciate it too. It makes them more motivated to come back and play the next day.
And the thing is, like, even ranked, it's like way better because you don't need to be calming. You need just like to be chilling, playing the game. And it's like, yeah, but you're not playing the game. But the thing is like, yes, like we have a play style. Yes, we practice the play style to become better, to become smarter, whatever you think each person's or each team play style is. But it's like you can practice that play style against the good teams, and if you don't have good teams to scrim against, just go play ranked. Just become better at the game. Just put hours on the game. It's like just because you're losing maybe 3-4 hours or 5 hours of scrims a week doesn't mean you're just gonna be worse than the other teams. If anything, it's gonna mean you're better because you're actually putting quality hours, which is you're only scrimming against the teams that like can actually put a fight against you when you're actually tryharding. There's no nerves, and not only that, it's like the other hours you're not actually like forcing no one to play against certain players, certain teams. Like there's no benefit to it. If anything, we're just helping those teams getting better at the game because we don't gain anything from it.
Is EU a lot more try-hard with scrims? Because, like, one thing I will say is, like, we're not great with it, right? Like, being completely honest, we've chalked a lot of scrims, usually against teams outside the top 8, which isn't great, right? But, like, you can kind of understand it, like, because it is often just Evos burnout from school. And, like, I get it. It's hard to balance, right? Like, being thrust into this when you've never had anything like this, right? Because, like, I think one thing I forget a lot is, like, a lot of these kids, like, haven't done actual sports. Like, that's the number one thing that you can tell the difference in the kids that have been, like, raised through sport and team sport rather than not. Like, their work ethic and their determination. But, like, NA, like, there's certain teams we can't scrim because they know, like, it just won't work. Like, there's certain teams that have us blacklisted from before we even, like, the season. Like... because they just think they can't try against us, which sucks, like, because of our name value.
I think the only team that's probably blacklisted it's Moist on EU.
Are they that
a lot of teams? They just go full pre-jump. Like I remember, like when we fought them on the regional, we had a scrim against them 2 days before, and they went full pre-jump. We just said, yeah, we don't want this to be our last scrim before the regional, so we just like ended scrims and we haven't scrimmed them ever since then. It's like
I feel like that was the same when I scrimmed PDS, man. They would literally pre-jump us. Like,
I mean, that's what they're doing right now in scrims. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But
that's why they suck.
That's what they're doing in scrims. They're the best team in the world in scrims. For 3 months, we didn't win a single scrim.
I know and love.
No, I mean, it's true.
I've been doing this for too damn long to know who's going to perform and who's not going to perform. Yeah. And I've been spot on every single time. I don't think I've ever missed a beat.
I'm curious, did you think we were going to perform? Because you guys used to just fuck us on scrims. We get fucked by
like 3 times. We've only fucked you guys 1 time in scrims. I mean,
Why only 3 times?
Varying reasons, whether it be we had to cancel on them, or I think they had to cancel on us a few times, and then we used to do 3 hours, and then the last regional we did 2 hours, so we didn't have room for a lot of teams. So it just all depends on like situation.
I mean, like, there's also both our teams are very young. So,
yeah, that too.
To put it nicely, usually one person from one of the teams, not like one person in particular, but usually there's one person on each of the teams where it could go very wrong very quick. Like, that's part of the reason why we haven't scrimmed PK up until this week was like Evo and Neil just didn't get along, so it just turned into like quick chat spamming. And it's
mean, we completely blacklisted V1 for the past like 2 events because like whenever we scrim them, it just gets hostile. So it's like, yeah, there's no point anymore.
That was with Season. We had that problem with Season in the past. I mean, we still had, but then I had to tell Farrell, like, if it happens one more time, we're never screaming you guys again. Like, Season would just like, he would get demoed once or twice, he would go full like quick shot, like just full ball chase, full demo chase, whatever, and it's like, yeah, we don't want to scream you guys ever. But then like, they fixed it and wow, they're making results now. Amazing.
Jesus, man.
Way to help, man. Way to help. Is there any
Oh,
teams? Is there any teams in these groups that you think are just super overrated? A team that you think is just gonna get smacked when they get into playoff?
I mean, it's tough. I don't think there's anyone that's really overrated.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think Vitality's overrated. I think they've kind of fallen off towards the end.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that, but like somehow people were still saying they were gonna win every single group against us, and they lost every single one.
Oh, it's hard to say who's overrated. I just don't feel like there's a team that's overrated when I look at each group. I feel like everyone's perfectly rated.
Yeah,
like
100%.
I think this is a very balanced, and even with like obviously people talk Group D, probably Group of Death, just because you've got arguably the best team in NA, you've got Complexity that's resurging, Oxygen has a ton of potential, consistent top fours, Pioneers is by no means a joke that you should walk over, but I also am realistic that Oxygen can be hit and miss. Complexity can also be susceptible to some pretty glaring issues. Gen G doesn't do the best in groups sometimes. So even with those, I think people are pretty realistic about what the results might be. So I do tend to agree that I don't know if there's any one team that's like overrated. Like the teams worked hard to get to where they are, and they're going to be competitive. The matches should be excellent across the board, which is good that we can, what I feel, focus in more on like stylistic differences, preparation, mental, you know, the things that actually matter.
I think if the one team that you could say is overrated maybe is Oxygen, but I don't know. I just feel like
I think Oxygen is underrated. Dude, I swear to God, Oxygen is the only team that I'm actually scared to play against.
No, I mean like everyone is overrating them because everyone expects them to just absolutely destroy their groups because they're LAN players, but like their online results didn't show, and then obviously like the injury that Rise has, I don't even know if he's still gonna have like a cast or what's going on when it comes to that LAN.
Yeah,
but everyone's honestly, I'm expecting them to win the groups, but you know, I'm assuming a lot of people are saying the same thing too.
I mean, do you remember the last split? What happened? They were like top 4, top 8, top 12, I think. They make major with that, and then they go.
They won the first match,
yeah, they would
top 1.
Yeah, and then they fucking go finals. So it's like there's like a big factor in that team. It's called Rise, and in the beginning when he started his career, I was like, I didn't appreciate his playstyle and the way he played the game. And the more I saw him playing, the more like I started getting proven wrong, because I don't know what it, I mean, I know what he does, but it's like he has a very good playstyle for lanes, and it might not work online, but every single time he's on lanes, he does perform and he does clutch up for his team every single time. So it's like people can't really base his team off any online results, in my opinion, because on the day, whoever's playing against them, if Rise is there, they're gonna win. And that's it. It's not even because he's gonna pop off. It's just because he's not gonna do mistakes and he's gonna actually be there for a team and play the game how he knows how to win.
He talked about how much he hated having to play that play style for Moist, and he did it, and he got him second place.
I mean, late is usually the time where all the glue players is like the term that everyone he likes to bring up is like those are the type of players that shine, because usually when your confidence is down and your mechanics are down because your confidence is down, usually the players that just are automatically instinctually have good positioning and good decision making usually are the ones that perform. I mean, it's been the case with Turbo. I feel like Rise is
look at fucking Torment, dude.
Like, Torment especially. I look at Noli. Noli's a prime example.
Yeah.
Where he facilitated Carmine back in the day, and then now he's doing the same thing for Gen G. Itachi's kind of like that player now, but I mean, he kind of struggled at Rotterdam. But and then even then, looking at who else was I was going to bring up, Rise is like that new age Turbo Pulsar. So it's like
he's so good.
You have those type of players that are just gonna feed into your system and make your teammates confident. I feel like those are the players that are super quality.
I look at Oxygen and go, hey, if they get momentum going and they get their reps in, that team scares me on LAN. I'm terrified of them on LAN.
It's the only team that's, if we have to play against, I'm gonna be scared against. No Carmine, no Gen G. Dude, we're gonna beat Gen G last major. We just
hope your boys aren't listening.
Oh, it's a possibility you might play them, because if you get first seed, you might run into them at their second seed. So
can't wait for that to be an elimination match. Here we go.
That's gonna suck.
I'm gonna be like, hey, you scared, buddy? I'm gonna see you there. I'll be like, you scared? How you feeling?
Wait, is that the quarterfinal or the semifinal?
Quarterfinal.
That'd be a quarterfinal.
GG, bro.
Yeah. Because if they're second seed, they play Group B third seed, which is realistically good for them.
Yeah.
I'll go at another Fries.
That sucks too, 'cause I kind of have both of you guys going far.
Xper's gonna be behind computers cutting RJ45 cables, just being like.
I'm gonna be trash talking him in Portuguese, so only me and Electronic are gonna understand.
My only thing with Oxygen is they haven't beaten a major team this entire split.
Same thing
Like,
about G2, man. G2's the exact same to make it.
Didn't Oxygen only play Carmine?
No,
Yeah.
and Vitality. Regional
but
one, they lost to
Regional 1
Vitality.
Vitality, they were picking. Like Alpha 54, he was playing for the 3 players alone.
I think with Oxygen
That's-
too, I think the biggest problems they have is like defensively, like who's going to be that backbone of the team.
Yeah.
Sure,
It
it's
ain't going to be
Archie.
Rise, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be Archie. I feel like it has to be Jorius, but even then, he doesn't look comfortable with it.
In my opinion, I don't think that's the even bigger problem. I just think that, like, in my honest opinion, Joris is going through probably the same thing that Toski went through with us, which is actually having to like slow down the pace of the game and chill, but you don't need to challenge every single ball.
Yeah.
And I saw them playing against like Vitality on that one game, and it's like, dude was just awkward every single time. Like you could see it in his face. Like every time he made a decision, he was regretting it. It's like something was on his mind that like was telling him not to do that. And it's like, my opinion, they just want to be, ever since Rise joined, they're starting to play the game differently, with smarter and everything. And before, all Jaros would do was just chase, and they have Oli, so if they lose the game, they can just blame it on Oli. So it's fine, but now they can blame it on no one. So now he actually has to not do mistakes, so it's different.
That's what I'm worried when push comes to shove, when the pressure is online and they're not, everything that they're trying to do isn't really working the way they want to, and then they start losing games if they just completely like fall apart. Is what I'm worried about them.
I think they'll be fine, honestly. I think Jaros is a lane player as well, so bro pulled like 2.0 rating the first lane he ever played, so.
Yeah,
one
but then he
thing-
made
fine.
playoffs and got destroyed by Semper.
Yeah, that's
The-
true as well.
The first time they lose to Semper in like 4 matchups, it's the one that matters most.
I know.
Like,
Sucks.
that's Rocket
The
League in a
one
nutshell, though, man.
criticism of yours. Sorry, my bad.
There you go.
Like the one criticism of Yoris is like, obviously he hasn't stepped up as often in like high pressure moments. Like Worlds, like he was great in wildcard, and then like so much shit fell apart like during Worlds, right? But like I've never seen Yoris like in those like do or die moments like really step up, and it's something that I think he will eventually, because I really love the kid.
Yeah.
But
I mean, but you can't really blame it like that, because Dignity started with the best season ever, and then they just had the worst end of the season ever. So it's like,
yeah,
they went to Worlds, but like no one was expecting them to do anything, and if anything, like their own motivation to even do anything was not even there. Even if like all the pretty tweets, oh my god, we're so happy to make it, we're gonna grind, like, bro, everyone knows deep down like tournaments are not going good, tournaments are not going good, you're just gonna go there, do the best you can, and split up.
Exactly.
it's
yeah,
like you can't really expect anything.
expanded, like when I joined that team, but even still, it's like I don't know. I think about the fall. Like none of them really stepped up. Like once it actually made it to bracket, once they played EG in LA, they didn't step. Like no one stepped up on that team to close out the series. Gamers 8 was a shit show, and then Worlds, it's the same thing. And then you even look like at Rotterdam, like it wasn't great. Like I think that's the one gear of like, I don't know if it's overconfidence or if he just hasn't had it happen yet, but I haven't seen Yoris like step it up to just win. And I don't know if that's like, because I know the kid cares. Like I know he cares a lot. It just hasn't happened for him.
I think a
I'm
lot of
not-
it, maybe, like, sorry to cut you off, is like I think he cares too much, because he's definitely that type of player where he doesn't. It doesn't seem like he has that bounce back ability from what I've seen from his past like matches on LAN. He just like once he loses it, he just like falls out completely.
Because like at least with the old tech roster, like it would be like one thing and we just completely fall off. Like fucking hell. Like at Gamers 8 it was that V1 or it was pretty much blowing it against Falcons, and then it went really bad. Club, it was just losing like early. Like it was the game 5 we missed the open net and we just couldn't bounce back at all. Like that's the one thing we really struggled with.
I mean, Rotterdam was a prime example too. When he had his new team, it's like they completely stomped everyone into Swiss, and then met FaZe, got up 2-0 up, and then instantly just collapsed, and they couldn't show any bounce back at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. But now it's different, I hope. And if anything, like, he has like 2 players that like, dude, if there's anyone that has seen carrying teams alone, it's Archie and Rise.
Yeah.
Especially Archie with Semper in the past and Endpoint as well, and Rise with like this, even the moist roster on Rotterdam, like where like Joy and like Austral, they would do just like full ball shays and hopefully touch the ball, which was kind of like our roleplay style as well. So I can't really talk much about it.
They did a good job facilitating Astral, and that's why they shined. I think Rise is that great player to have on a team too, because like even me, my perspective too, we're playing Secret on stage, and I hear Rise yelling at Carmine Court, and then you go look at the rebroadcast, and they got 3-0. It's like, why is he yelling at? And he's like, he's so into the series, even if they're losing, like they get a goal no matter what. He's still in it. That's like the type of player you want your team. If like you're someone like Yoris, where like he's struggling, you know, with confidence issues in the series, and then you have your teammates that's just pumping you up consistently.
Shit,
just
selfishly,
as a whole.
Selfishly, it's like, you know, casting for version 1 as a, you know, as an independent. Like, obviously, I'm not officially associated with them, but I've been along for their journey for 2.5 years. When the Rise announcement happened, as much as I love Calm to death, like that boy is like my little brother. I knew one of the biggest issues with V1 was like they don't have that leader in game. They don't have that person when they are down on themselves to pull them back and bring that intensity to just push them through. So like when Rise was a potential to come in, I was just like, fuck, that could be something that helps them get through those moments where it's just like, yeah, you're not going to go top 8 and then shit the bed. You'll at least be competitive. Like Rise is a special breed. He's a really good player for both in-game, out-of-game things. Like he's... I agree. He's so good.
Rise is unbelievable.
And even as a leader, it's not even about like the hyping the teammates up. It's like even telling them to calm down or stuff like that. Like it's like one of the biggest struggles like I always had, and I keep having. It's like whenever like we have to do the comeback, it's me, but it's something like we've been practicing, especially with Oski and Atto, and right now it's gonna be a Chronic, the one that's missing, which is like to talk with each other. I don't care if you have to come, just shut the fuck up and tell that Oski is ball chasing, tell him to chill down, or Atto is ball chasing, tell him like talk with each other. Like teams miss that, and because you don't have that, then you have to have someone else do their job or complement each other on what they don't have. Since like I'm not gonna be talking mid game because like even though for example like Nick does it and I've seen it in the comms videos, like it would not work with us. We are a team that like we come a lot of stuff that if there's like an extra voice on the call, it's not gonna work. And I know for a fact it's just gonna disconcentrate the players, and if anything, it's even gonna make them play the game worse because now they not only have to think about like the game, 2 people coming, a third people coming, and imagine like they're thinking about going for the ball, and I'm telling them, oh, don't challenge or chill down. Like, bro, like I'm making them second guess every single decision they make, and I don't think they'll perform.
I mean, that's where like I'd also say like all I can reference, right, is the video you upload against G2, right? So I think that's like the only comms video you guys have posted.
Yeah.
Do you guys look at other teams' comms videos a lot?
I do, yeah.
It seems to be pretty common. I've heard that from every coach.
I'm the type of person where I look at anything I can, whether it be content, just to get a read on like what type of player they are, like personality wise, and just like anything I can pick up that I can use. I look at anything really.
Because what I will say is like I feel like you guys as a 3 calm more than us as a 4. It's like that is one of our biggest issues is we just don't calm unless we're super locked in. Like off the top of my head, it's been like version 1, game 2, game 3, and then like SSG game 5, and then the game 4, 5, and 6 when we played you guys the first time. Like those have been the only like real like we are 115% into it, and it's not like it's just quite literally getting it out of each other, because a lot of teams like have called us passive aggressive when they've watched our comms videos, but I'd rather us get something out of it than not get anything, right? Because that's probably the most important thing is like we at least say something, and that's where Rise like is unbelievable at that role, is getting some like people to actually talk. Like I remember in LA, like I want to say it was before game 6 or something. I think it was against G2. I may be wrong, right? It may have been against SSG, but it was like he was just telling Vatira, "You're not playing for the team anymore," and like it just stuff like that, whether people agree or not, like it just creates discussions, and he is unbelievable at that.
He said like in what he like gave details on his stream about the V1 situation and what ended up happening. The thing he missed most about that roster with Moist is he's like, we would have conversations mid-series and have answers by the next game. And now on my teams, we don't do that at all, let alone in game.
I think that's just to the Astro, honestly.
Yeah, I mean which is fair. You know, people's different personalities, like people react to certain things differently. It is up to the coach and staff to help with those things. But it is so much easier when players are willing to hear those things and make those adjustments. I think you guys are talking about communication, people that have that impact. I mean, that's the first thing I noticed about comm videos from G2 with Chicago. Chicago's comms are incredible.
I've always said it. The coach is there to facilitate conversations and be there to, even suggest conversations of what to have, and then the players need to at least try to figure it out together. Because at the end of the day, like when you're in that match in a high pressure situation, you're not going to that match with your coach. You're going to the match with your teammates on the field with you. Coach is just there to keep you calm, if anything, and point out things that you're not picking up on. If the players aren't realistically doing that in practice or just like in tournament, that type of team is never going to be the team I ever picked to win a tournament, because they just don't got it when it comes to those high pressure situations.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Focus
There's a
on
lot of things that needs to be done.
we talked about like teams that are potentially overrated, this, that, the other. I know we talked a little bit about G2 as well. Mental hurdles potentially. I think they're playing really well right now. I think they're playing really good Rocket League. Concerned though, statistically right now, they have not beaten this entire split a team that has made the major. All their wins are against teams that are like the best performing team that they beat was Space Station. They beat you guys, but they've lost to Genji, FaZe, Furia, and FaZe again.
That's the thing. It's like
matters at all.
I don't really care about the online it's online qualifiers in my opinion. And I don't really care about anything. It's like the same thing. It's like with Carmine going to the last major, and they were gonna do top 8, and people were like, "Oh, Genji also like they were super good. They were 3 finals in a row. They went to the major. They won the major." But it's like I don't think people realize how bad they were playing against us when we were like 3-1 up until the 3-1 up. Like maybe Nolly and Chronic would have like a decent tournament. Like Jack, like it was abnormally bad how bad he was playing the game, and then like he woke up and then they started destroying us. But it's like people just overrate too much online results. Like, dude, G2, they might be the best team in the world in online or the worst team in the world online. Dude, that one day on the LAN, a best of 7, maybe the player didn't eat, maybe the player didn't sleep as much as he wanted, maybe the alarm went off and he couldn't sleep anymore. You don't know what's gonna happen, but something's gonna happen for a team, and you can't know those factors, and that's gonna make you lose or win, and that's the important factor. It's like, yes, G2 could lose to every single major team and go to major and win against every major team. Yes, FaZe might be the worst team in the world against major teams in the past, and then they go to EU like Sweden, and they win against BDS, who's no one in EU can even face off. So it's like,
I mean, we all know they aren't going to pass 4th though, right? Like, that's my concern. But is FaZe finally going to get above top 4? Because
no,
I think so. I think they're more like a team now than they were before.
They look good. They do look good.
Never won more than one event usually in a split.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting hot when it matters most.
It's up to them in person if they boot camp and what they do in person. Because I know from like previous events, they were never a team like that hung out with each other and never like talked about things with each other.
Isn't Typical just buy an extra hotel room?
Yeah,
like
Typical is he's like a nomad. He like goes on his own way. He does his own thing.
Yeah,
I'd watch that Netflix documentary.
He'll scrim and then he'll just peace out for the rest of the day.
Really?
Yeah, like that type of person.
That's what I mean. It's like, unless they're just having insanely good days, like if for example like they have like a 2-1 group stage, and then they're like, okay, we need to figure things out for tomorrow, like that won't happen, because maybe you'll just dip and just okay, I wanna just chill with my parents, and I don't know whether, for example, us, like we went 3-2 in a group stage, and we went to the hotel room, grabbed one replay, and I said to a Chronic, like, either you play like this tomorrow or you're gonna fucking lose. And yeah, he showed up and did the best rating of the team. So it's like, you need the team together. You can't be having those egos, because I know that's an ego. He has an ego, and if that ego doesn't allow him to like actually just understand, like, he needs to be together with the team, even on the losses. Even if you just lost the most ridiculous series of your life, you need to still be together with the team, talk with each other, eat dinner together, just be there, act as a team, because a team is when you lose and when you win. So it's like,
family,
if
man.
you can't, Yeah, exactly. If you can't understand that, then that's why I say they won't make it past the top 4, because I can see them actually destroying everyone, then just have a bad series on the group stage, and then just bottling it out after because of not talking things through.
Well, the real reason, let's be honest, like the real reason you guys lost in London to Moist was because you guys were hanging outside that hotel for too long. Every night I pulled up to London, you guys are chilling outside talking. I'm like, what are these kids doing?
I mean, the vibe I got from Liquid is like they were happy to be there.
Oh,
They
you guys were
weren't happy
vibing.
to-
Yeah,
No, you guys were very happy to be there.
guys.
You guys were
I'm gonna
playing
be
spoiler
honest,
and you
like-
knew it. Like,
No, I'm gonna be honest. Like we take the game very serious. We're just a team that like we know when to be serious and when not to. And it's like
Yeah.
if we are in scrims, we are taking things serious. If we are talking about anything about the playstyle, we are taking things serious. But like outside of that, like dude, we just want to have fun. Honestly,
No,
like
I think it's a
and I'm
really
a
important
22 and I'm a 22-year-old, and I'm the same as them. I just want to have fun. Honestly, like I'm traveling the world, getting everything paid for. Like why would I be stressed out every single day, dude? Let me have fun. Let me go out, like drink, I don't know, meet new people from the scene that I've never met before, just talk with them. Like there's some like, yeah, there's introverted people, but it's like, bro, like second I arrived in Rotterdam, I'm already sitting down with G2, already drinking, talking. 2 seconds later or 2 minutes later, I'm already talking with someone else, like meeting new people, like talking. Like, bro, I'm not gonna be there, my room 24/7, go to the stage, play, lose or win or whatever, and go home. Like, no, bro.
I remember
Have
I remember
fun.
when you guys qualified for the first time, both Tao and Oski were in chat, and I told them, I'm like, ultimately, guys, there's gonna be pressure, this and that, but have fun. Like, these chances don't happen frequently. They are rare, and there is no guarantee they're gonna happen again. And it's like I'm glad you guys have a culture that like you guys take that stuff to heart, because it is important, man. Like, there's so much that you should be happy for with being able to see and travel and meet people from all different places and cultures, and like that's stuff that a lot of people in the world do not get the chance to do. So I do think it is very important to have that balance, both having fun, enjoying it, but also taking it seriously, because you are competing and trying to build towards something. So no, it's good to hear that you guys do definitely take that time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like Oski says it a lot, which is like we have one of the best mentals in the game. We could be in the mud, like it happened last split, and we still made it. And then we were in the mud. I don't think people realize like the amount of thing that was going behind the scenes in this off season for us. Like it was the worst thing that like you could say that the team has probably ever gone through, and we still set as a team, and we still top two seed of EU, like won a regional, made another final. And it's like, why? Just because like at the end of the day, there's times to be serious and times to have fun, and it's because of those times that we're having fun that we talk to each other. And I remember like I was saying it to Osk and also saying it to me, like, dude, I love this team, honestly. We're just having fun, and I know what the fuck is going on with the other teams, and I know it's like, if I go there, I'm not gonna have half as fun as I'm having here. So at the end of the day, whatever roster move I make in the future, I'm gonna have that in mind, that like, I'm having fun in here. Yes, I'm tryharding to win, I wanna win, because winning is fun, but I'm having fun here, and maybe if I go somewhere else, I'm not having fun.
You guys
You
remind me.
got a good culture right now, and
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, it probably won't be the same. That every team's different.
Yeah.
So
That's
You
why I
guys
just
are-
want to
it's
take
good that
advantage
you
as
guys are on
long
the
as I
same
can.
page. It's like the
Yeah.
massive thing.
A lot of people
You
are
guys-
envious of that. I can tell you right now. A lot of coaches are envious of that environment.
I've coached Freaky, so I know what it's like the other side of the.
Jesus
And
Christ.
I've coached
Fuck.
everything under the sun, so I definitely have a feeling
Shit.
what's good and what's
Oh,
bad
man.
too.
Oh my god. Spare, I fucking love you. Oh man.
You guys remind me a lot of Old Moist or like Queso. Like when we first started, where you guys are just like such good friends and like you're so young and you're just enjoying and growing like as a team so well. Like our environment's quite strange because we're almost more like we're teammates, we're not really friends. Like that's probably our biggest flaw as a team.
I mean, that'll come in time though, right? Like you guys are still really
Yeah.
new. Like it's gonna take time to develop and build that kind of rapport with each other. That shit
Like,
doesn't
that's
happen
why I'm-
overnight.
Yeah, I am really jealous you guys boot camp like all the time because like in boot camp that was the most we've actually like talked and hung out as a team.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm glad we're going out to LA early. So, because I mean shit, like our trade window was hell. We didn't pick up Evo until 30 minutes left in the window on one scrim, so we had no idea what was going on.
You both, I assume Liquid, are you guys boot camping as well locally, or are you guys going out early too?
Yeah, we go to LA as well on the 25th.
Okay, what about Dig?
28th we fly, but obviously we're already in the States.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's probably a big thing, is like actually just getting young kids to speak, because like that's why I have huge respect for you guys. Like you're 15, 16, and Necronic's what, 18?
Yeah, it's gonna be 18 soon, but it comes with time. Like, dude, when I started coaching Electronic, like when he was like 13, like bro would not even say okay back. I would be talking with him for 1 minute straight, and he would just like be quiet, and I'm like, Electronic, okay, and he would say okay. Like, it took like 2 or 3 years for him to actually start saying okay, or like giving me like, okay, I heard you, I'm gonna do it. It's like just kids, bro. Like I remember when I was a 15-year-old, like imagine having like a guy over age telling you what the fuck to do. Like,
yeah, it didn't go
comes
well.
with time. Like they'll learn. It's like they'll understand that like there's rights and wrongs. Like they'll learn.
I say the same thing. Like when you were that age, did you listen to your parents whenever they tell you to do
Exactly.
things?
No.
It's the same
Even
thing.
when you knew they were right, you're like, fuck that. They told me to do it, and I'm gonna do the opposite now. Like, you know it's the right thing to do, but because it came from mom and dad, you're like, opposite. That's what I'm doing. Like, it's no different. The people forget, yeah, they are kids, and it is unrealistic for people in general to like have those same expectations. They are thrown into a position, and obviously they are forced to grow up very quickly, but that does not mean they aren't still a 15-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
Tough. Mom, I don't need your reactions in chat right now. I know I was a shit. Like, I was a smart ass. I know. Like, yeah, I don't know. It is crazy, but I've kept you guys here for 2.5 hours. Appreciate you all. This is stuff that I would do off stream all day, every day. Like, this is my favorite part about going to LANs, is just hanging out with the boys, talking shop, having a good time. So last question I have for all of you, and we'll see how far this goes, but give me your top 4. Give me your top 4. Who do you see in the grand finals?
You can start, Nick.
I can start. All right. Let me pull up the bracket I made, because I had some crazy. I had us in top 4.
Attaboy.
Yeah. You gotta back your own team.
Yeah, tell me who you're getting through as well to get there. If that's the case.
Okay. Yeah. So we get 3rd, I believe, right? No, we get 3rd. And then I predicted we get the rematch against Complexity. And after being 1-12 against them, I finally get my second win against
Love that storyline. Love that.
What a great story.
Yeah.
That's why I'm taking him out to dinner, getting this head. Then we play Secret for top 4. And I'm quite good friends with Bruno. They play very similar to us. But we just peak on the day, right? So we're in top 4.
Nice.
And then we play Casey. Okay, yeah, it's not looking so good now. But Casey or G2? I think I put G2. So so it was Dig, G2 to Grands. And then I have Gen G and no, I had Liquid. I had Liquid out of my upper finals. And Liquid versus Oxygen? No, that doesn't sound right. That is right. Yeah, Liquid, Oxygen.
All EU final in San Diego? God, that would be crazy.
G2. No. G2
no crowds.
Oh, you're talking semi. Okay.
Liquid. Yeah. So G2, Dig, Liquid, and Oxygen.
Nah. Carmine and Genji both out of. Nah, that's not happening. I can see one of them, not both of them. Bro, like I'm gonna tell you this, Nick, because you play them, right? Yeah, you do play them, but it's like if they're like on their day, or like even if they're just having a normal day, if they're not feeling nervous, you won't play the game. You're just gonna watch. You're gonna lose 3-0 and you're just gonna watch. I'm not joking. Carmine is not a joke. We took 6 months to start to figure them out, because when we did figure them out, 2 months after they're 10 times better again, and we can do nothing. Like, they're that good. Like, they've been doing like whatever playstyle, like the smart playstyle, like we started playing like a month ago. They've been doing it for 6 months. Like, they're no joke. They're actually like super good at the game. It's like, it's scary how good they are at the game. Like, when it comes to like not doing mistakes and not overcommitting and like making the right decision every single time. It's like, if you underestimate Carmine, it's like end of the world for you, honestly.
Oh no, that's why I have us coming 3rd in groups. I said G2 take them out. Purely for the fact every LAN I've made, G2's made grand finals, and they've always played the best Rocket League ever. So I
G2?
have to be biased. Yep. Maybe I'm their good luck
So
charm.
it's your fault.
Us and Carmine reverse swept them on London, so.
You're saying Carmi reverse sweep G2?
Yeah, us and Carmine reverse swept G2 on London.
Oh,
Yeah, that
I
actually is
remember
true.
that. Oh, I remember that. Oh, that was a good
Yeah,
day.
but then they made grand finals of Worlds. Like, and
Yeah,
they
and how'd
beat
that go?
K4. Shit, they made grand finals of Worlds. Like, I'll take that.
I mean, same,
But, you know,
but
It's the thing that Chrome was saying. It's like, if anything, like Carmine can crumble. Like I was saying, like top 8, but like maybe I agree more with Chrome, like the top 4. But it's like, dude, they will play group stage like they're playing against the bronze teams. I'm not joking with you.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you'll be like walked on, like fucking I don't know, bro. Like
okay, you've
they will
probably
just
watched
play
more
around
than
with you.
us. You've probably.
I'm not joking. I've played Gen G and I've played Carmine. I know what I'm talking, bro. I know what I'm talking.
No, I know, but like with the group stage
Carmine.
stuff, like K Corp slipped up. Like they lost to G1, they lost to Solary, they've lost.
Yeah, but
to...
that's bro. They're qualified from it. It's EU group stage. Like we lost to Vertigo Esports, didn't even make any other regional, and we are C2 in Europe. Like it's a group stage. Honestly, it's same as Swiss stage. It's like those teams. Like it's EU bubble scene. I don't know about NA bubble scene, but EU bubble scene, bro. Like on a good day, they have 3 monkey ones on a team.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing that. But like they didn't go a perfect group stage at all. That's the only thing of like, surely there's something with day ones with them, right? Or am I just over?
I mean, it's.
I haven't watched them as much.
When we played them in Rotterdam, they weren't the greatest either. Neither were we. I mean, they did 3-1 us, but like that series was more than winnable for us, and it was super sloppy. I mean, if you watched a game one of us with them, it was like 5-6 overtime, which we should have won, but don't even want to get into it. They weren't the best, but if you think about it, like who's in their group that you think is going to be contending for a championship? And I don't see any of the teams in their group contending for a championship that's going to even give them remotely that difficult of a challenge.
Yeah, because like Vitality probably have their own internal shit going on. Falcons, I haven't been sold off.
If you guys haven't listened to that interview that we did with Farah, great listen. Highly recommend listening to what Farah had to say. I had to actually cut some of the stuff out for PR reasons. But very good insight about the way that they're utilizing Zen on that team to motivate. It's actually really cool. Like,
it's motivation, but it's also stressful because at the end of the day, it's like, dude, everyone knows it's Season probably. It's gonna be the one left out. And if I'm Season, the only thing I'm thinking is like, I'm just gonna perform the best and get out. So it's like, the second they're actually like underperforming at major, what is in it for me to actually like have the mindset to want to bounce back for this major? You know, like he doesn't like, he's just gonna be thinking, okay, I'm already gonna be kicked, so why am I even trying harder than
I hope his mental is strong
else?
enough to realize that that is when the most eyes are going to be on him, so he needs to make an impact. I need to crush it at this major, because then when I do get kicked, no one can deny me wanting a spot. No one's going to not want me as a tryout, because now I have one experience too.
Team too starts playing selfishly and trying to make himself look good.
Oh, yeah.
And could run the team as well.
And the other thing is like the 4-player team. It's like, well, I better hope they don't come to scrims and start switching up players every single game. Like, we're just not gonna scrim them. What the fuck? Like, one game we play Season, Zen Alpha, the other game Zen's out, plays Hadozin. Like, what the fuck is that? We're not gonna do that.
The thing with Season as well is like you're talking about his mental, and this is like from being in EU for a season. That dude does not have a strong mental. Like, how many times has it happened? And even you touched on Xberry. The kid gets demoed twice, and scrims are chalked for an hour.
Yeah,
like,
there's leaking.
I think he got better. But
Nick, I now know your game plan against Vitality. Have fun.
Man, I haven't watched Vitality replays yet. I haven't really sat down and looked at our group as much as I should have yet. It's been.
You watched other team play styles that much?
Other teams play style, yeah. Like when we were really shit in the fall, I felt really outdated. So I sat down, I talked to like 5-10 people about like how their teams work, get their general opinions on the game where I felt like I was outdated and stuff, and like really sat down and grinded it. I just haven't sat down and watched these teams yet because this week has been catching up.
Isn't like, for example, I speak from experience, isn't like just watching from scrims what they're doing against you like enough? Because it's like, whenever we started playing the new playstyle, it's like I was already like prepared enough from it like what we need to change, and like every single thing that we need to change, just because I was like watching Rise play for like the past years and Carmine play for the past months. So it's like I already know what we want in the playstyle. So like we change for the meta. So it's like I don't have like the need to like, or at least that's just me like speaking with. I feel like just you watching how the teams play against you should be enough. You don't actually have to go do homework.
Most
And
of the people I talked to weren't from NA, purely because I think NA, like the traditional NA style, is so outdated. Like I think the top 4 of NA play more of an EU play style more than anything. Like complex.
nah, you can put FaZe in there, bro. They just sit in it.
No,
Maybe it's
FaZe is
different.
like-
Maybe different now. Maybe different now.
Yeah,
'cause it's-
since they've started winning, they've played a lot more similar to like the full team meta.
Okay.
A lot more aggressive and hyper aggressive, right? But like I feel like you look at the rest of NA, like us on down, including us, we play more of like the traditional NA style of a
I'm
lot
curious,
of.
what do you guys consider EU style? Because I know this has been a topic of discussion for everyone. I'm just curious what
Yeah,
everyone
do I
thinks
need to
EU
pull out
style is
Morgan's
versus NA style.
fucking graphs and shit? Like, what are you?
I love M dog.
Me too, but again,
I don't agree. I don't agree with those graphs. Just saying.
yeah, chill, dad. Appreciate the sub, man.
A lot more aggressive second man than NA. Like it's a lot more pressure compared to like this constant solo. EU tends to dominate midfield a lot more than North America does, in my opinion.
If I'd say it's like EU is not afraid to actually just fucking bang the ball. Whether NA, it's like they could be like 0 boost and just trying to keep the ball close. Like yeah, I'm keeping it close. Like yeah, 0 boost. Keep boost starving yourself. Keep it close. Sure. Don't bang it out, please.
I just feel like, yeah, I agree EU bangs the ball a lot, but I feel like all the top teams that perform get top 2s or top 4s that lands are the teams that play a more defensive style at midfield and don't commit their second man
Yeah,
as
I
hard.
mean, but
I
the
mean,
thing is, like,
case in point right now, G2 is
this is
purposefully not
what-
challenging up past midfield. Like they are.
what
just
are you saying
parking.
right now? It's the new meta that's EU is like adapting.
Yeah.
Like that's legit what Carmine us and I mean Oxygen always does it because of Rise. He's doing it. It's just picking up like the aggressive playstyle, which is like the first man not being afraid to like go for the ball and just bang the ball more and playing like fast, like not slowing down the pace for no reason at all. And then also chill down with the second man. There's no reason for the second man to be like full ball shades. Like just chill down, bro. So it's like
That's why, I mean, that's why I felt like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say that I don't think right now there's really like an A or EU playstyle. I just think like since lanes are starting to become back, like teams are starting to like adapt, and since like players like Jack and Ollie like change region, it's like playstyle just gonna become the same. Like NA and you are just gonna play the same playstyle, and if anything, it's like the top teams from NA will play one playstyle, and the other teams will just play differently because they don't have like lanes to compare their playstyle against other regions. But yeah, I think playstyles are just gonna be the same. I don't think there's like NA or EU playstyle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, like, even the top teams, I say Carmine Core, like, even BDS was the one that pioneered it for your region, where they played that very defensive style. And you got the other teams are super outdated. That's why they rolled over that region for so long. But I feel like that's literally what everyone's doing nowadays, just because it's just so reliable and so efficient. You don't play off risks too much more so than
Yeah, exactly.
you just play
then-
on reliable, good control and efficiency, boost starve, and then break down a team.
Yeah.
Because everyone's
Yeah,
getting better defensively.
and then it's just up to the players to be able to maintain like their skill and to play at the best, because it's like there's gonna be a day where everyone's gonna be smart enough to do the same things, and then that day is gonna be like where you're gonna see like the good players from the best players, like because the best players will show up and play insanely good, and the good players will just be players that like play the exact same as the best players, but the best players right now can still it's like the same. It's like before you would have like Vatir on Moist, just full ball shays, and now Vatir is playing smart, and everyone keeps saying he's the best player in the world. Like there's a reason. It's like all these mechanical players are right now doing what the smart players like could do before that mechanical players could not. So it's like, what is the need for like a smart player right now in the team? You're either mechanical or you're gonna get cut, and that's a fact. It's what's happening right now in the scene, and a lot of people complain from it. But it's gonna happen. It's already happening in NA as well. So it's like, it's mechanics right now. You're mechanical, you can learn how to be smart. You're smart, you can learn how to be mechanical. I mean, you can, but it's not the same.
That's why when you mentioned like how I come for the team, like it's just because we haven't had enough time with Eva to like actually teach him everything. It feels like because we were playing a different event every week. Like we had to qualify every single time. Like we didn't have time to actually develop anything. Like these next 3 weeks are pretty much going to be like the make or break if we can be a consistent team in my eyes, and like actually show up at the major, or if we're just going to fill numbers.
No, I agree with you. I've been there as well. Like with the first split, I know the struggle. It's hard. It's hard. Like the whole like playstyle thing. I even said in my interview with Lawler, where like, dude, if I want to change a playstyle, I'm gonna change it in 2 weeks. Like I'm not gonna be asking things. I'm gonna demanding things, and I want things to be done in like 2-3 days. And I don't care if you if you care about it or not. It's how things work. And it's like, yeah, if you have to go through like qualifiers 1 week, the week after RLCS, and then the week after, like that's expected for like you to not be able to like perform playstyle wise at least consistently, because 1 week you're playing against top 24 teams, the week after you're playing against the best teams, so it's like there's not much you can do.
Because I think like one thing with us is like we don't really have a set playstyle. Like I don't think many people would say like, oh yeah, that's how Dig play. But if I say, how does Liquid play, how does KC play, how do Gen G play, how do FaZe play, like you have that idea in your head damn near instantly, right?
Well, that's also because they've been, think about how long Liquid's been together. Despite that, they've also made a, like you said, a recent playstyle adjustment, but it is so deterministic. Like Xpert and I had this conversation literally a few weeks ago about the implementation of a new playstyle, his ideology behind coaching, and I in that conversation also talk about, it's because of the willingness of your players. They confide in you wholeheartedly. There is a lot of trust. That is not the case on every team. I know others in this call who would love to express those things, but we don't need to dive into it. Ultimately, though, Xpert, what's your top 4?
Sorry. No,
it's a great conversation, but I'm also not trying to make you guys be here forever. Again, I love this conversation. I know chat is also putting the popcorn. Like, this is the interesting part. I love hearing this shit. Like, again, I'm about it too, but I also want to be respectful of your guys' time.
Shit, I got nothing else.
FaZe, Carmine, Liquid, Oxygen. I don't know if is that even possible. Wait, is that even possible?
What'd you say? FaZe, Carmine, Liquid, Oxygen?
Yeah. Is that even possible?
That's some spicy. That's
That's actually in my top 4 too. I have 3 top 4 this time around. Usually NA has dominated the top 4, but I have 3 EU this time.
I think like Carmine Corp made a statement in EU, especially with us, and Oxygen. I think if Fries doesn't have like the thing on his wrist, like, and he's a LAN player, like I think like people are like super underestimating you, like. And the NA, it's like just been the same, honestly. Gen G, FaZe, and then G2 always like the super consistent team, but they never win it. So.
NA definitely downgraded this split for sure.
Yeah,
and they're gonna do it again next split
with the home crowd. I think you're gonna have some upset fans. So
I feel like we're the EU region now, where EU is like hella inconsistent. Now we're that.
Dude, there was so much parity to the split. So much parity to the split. And I think a lot of it due, obviously, to last minute roster changes, the mental stuff going on. Like, there was opportunity for a team like Dig to come in and I think make a change. And the fact that you guys did that with a brand new player 30 minutes before lock is fucking awesome. So proud of you guys.
God, fuck that trade window.
It's a cool storyline, man. Like, obviously it's not ideal, but I think it's fucking awesome that we have a different team going to a major. You've got rookies who get to perform and get that experience. I've been a huge fan of Andy forever, and the fact that boy gets to go play on LAN, I'm just fucking happy for him. Like, that is an experience.
Use the opportunity presented to you to make the most of it. This is your time to shine. Can't use it. Oh, like we don't deserve to be here. You got to be like, oh my god, everyone's off the ball. It's our time to shine.
Yeah, like
100%. Finally,
100%.
actually getting scrims against good teams now. Like, fucking up. Last split, we could not get anyone.
It is crazy what doing that stuff happens. It opens up the doors immediately. I mean, shit, Chrome. Think about like the times that you were a pro. Like, I mean, scrims back then were a different breed.
I mean, you only scrim the top teams because it's the best practice you're gonna get. It's always been the case. A lot of these bubble players and bubble teams and coaches don't understand that. It's like, why would we scrim a team to make them better and not really improve much of ourselves? I mean, yeah, you could argue, oh, it's good to play against every playstyle, but most of the time with young kids, like, they can't really focus against players that are not on their same playing field in the sense of like results.
I agree with that.
The biggest thing. I mean, as a coach, realistically, like, I used to be a player the same way. It's like, realistically, you have to, because it helps build your mental, but these are young kids. They don't listen. They're going to do their own thing. So it's tough, man. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I do agree that like there's no reason for us to even scrim those teams. Like, even if like it's like, I just think that like right now Rocket League is going through a phase where like there's definitely like a skill a big skill difference between like the top teams and like the top 16 teams or top 24 teams, like the teams that like make regional one time. So it's like, what's even like the point for us to scrim them? It's like, for example, like Thunder was, like we were 7-0 them every single time, and like the only time we ever have to play them, like we reverse swap them obviously, but it's like we were having like one of the shittiest of seasons ever, and like we were just like, boys, we're not gonna lose to Thunder. We 7-0 them every single scrim, and like out of nowhere, like 5-0 every game. But it's like, we know we're gonna win those teams in regionals, so why would you even care about scrimming them? And it's like, yeah, but they can surprise you. No, they can't, because they don't have a Oski, don't have an Auto, don't have an Chronic. At least in my opinion, like they don't have like a mechanical player that can pop off. No. So what's even the point? They're just gonna play the playstyle. Their playstyle that we know it because we've scrimmed against them once, which is the only thing we need, and that's it. We're not gonna do anything else.
Yeah, because if anything, you're forming bad habits without realizing too sometimes when you're scrimming those teams. You can just be absolutely destroying them, and you're getting that false confidence in certain areas of the field where you won't get away with it with a good team. And on top of that, sometimes you're destroying them, and then you kind of let your foot off the gas a little bit, and you're wasting an hour of practice where you're just like having fun too much.
Yeah, 100%.
Strictly business.
That's why I mean, top 8 scrims is the only thing we do. It's the best thing we've ever done, and it's the best idea that, like, I think it was Oski or Ato that started with it, and like the best idea they've ever had. It's doing this, and I like it. No more canceling scrims for no reason. At least not EG, because EG we still cancel.
God, are they still just like scrim peakers?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh God.
And Verge gets mad at me when we cancel because, yeah, I mean, poor Ato, bro, can't have 8 hours of school, dentist, his mom telling him to go do homework, and still have to scream like, yeah, come on, bro.
Dog ate his homework. Like, what
do they sit in net in scrims too, or is that only in matches?
No, they actually play. No, the thing about TG is like they just sit in net, but if they're losing the game with 30 seconds left, they go full ball chase, full demo. And they actually start scoring goals. So it's like, if you don't want to play the fucking game, why don't you do it for 5 minutes while you're playing in net?
I think that's just like risk aversion. And once again, when it comes to like coaching as well, probably like that's their mindset is like follow the play style of like strictly counterattack, and all else fails, throw the kitchen sink.
Yeah, I think they have the worst mental right now in the game, honestly. It's not even BDS. Like, bro, they've been 4 times one series away from qualifying and they don't, so it's like... Yeah.
BDS are just not playing a playstyle they engineered in their own region that a lot of teams stole from them. And then on top of that, they just troll scrims.
Sounds like
every time I watch them lose, it's their second man trolling so hard. And it's like, you guys used to never do that when you're on top of your game. You guys won Worlds off a good second man. You guys lost the Secret and Pioneers at London because your second man was just drawing himself and you guys were getting counterattacked. Like, really simple fixes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think BDS just gonna do what everyone's expecting, a roster move, and if they don't, then I don't know what's gonna happen. But
I mean, considering from what I've heard and what I've known is like, I know Seiko isn't grinding as hard, maybe is now, but that when you're putting in 200 ranked games before the fall split versus like the other top teams putting in thousands of ranked games, like you're just not grinding that much.
It's a thing you said before, like it's that you were saying about scrims, and it's like, bro, they come screaming against us, they're full pre-jumping, we can't win a single game. It's like you finally get the clear out. No, Seiko full pre-jump, goes to the ceiling, triple flip reset, massive double touch, goes for LCS, bro doesn't even jump for the ball.
Yeah.
Does this remind you of an NA team, Chrome?
Yeah.
A certain Brazilian one is
yeah.
At least they show up on time. Shout out BDS for that.
I mean, I probably never really struggle with Furia because I feel like their playstyle just isn't realistic at all.
Dig. Someone from some coach in the call tries to tiptoe around it, says the things, gives all the context clues, and then comes like, yes, Furia.
I mean, he said Brazilian team.
I know, but like, it's like, why are we beating around the bush, man? Like, this entire call, you guys have been nothing but candid. You've got fucking Experiment talking about fucking God, what's his face?
Freaky.
Yeah, Freaky and shit. Like, why stop now, man? Like, it's too late.
Like Furia fuck us in scrims, because it's like, how do you try against that? Like, they've never been on time. They show up 20 minutes late. Recently, okay, has this happened with you where NRG shows up 20 minutes late every time as well?
Surprisingly, no. I mean, every once in a while, like Squishy will be like sick or something like that. He always has some issues with like health, and then, but other than that, we usually scrim them pretty much on time. We get a good 7 or 8 games in with them every time, and they're actually really good quality. That's like one of the only teams we have quality scrims with.
All right, well, is what it is then, I guess, because that's happened to us multiple times. Like, I remember, okay, day before Regional 3, right? G2 almost canceled on us last night because Atomic's internet was dying, and then we canceled on them because, like, our boot camp was chalked, partly because all the Fortnite guys was downloading stuff, but in general, right? Like, oh, it was bad. And then NRG shows up 30 minutes fucking late, and then we have to, it's like, it's...
I mean,
I think we got an hour from
have those days. It just happens. I remember we had a day where you had 3 hours scheduled scrims, and then we only got like a good 30 minutes in one time.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Do you guys still do 3 hours in NA? Because I think Gen G does 4, right, or something.
3.
Like
no, I think Gen G's back at 2 now. But
okay. Because that's not healthy, bro. First of all, we can't even find 3 hours of scrims though.
I mean, when we have to do 3 hours scrims, we have to scrim teams that are outside of the top 8 because it's impossible to get everyone. Yeah. For instance, for LANs, what we did for Rotterdam, that was pretty cool. Outside of like Arsenal getting sick, so we kind of had to chalk some of the scrims, but we did like 2-hour scrims, and then we had a solid like 2-3 hour break, whether we could do whatever we want in that situation or do replays, and then we'd scrim another hour or 2 afterwards, and it actually was pretty cool. It was actually really good for us. Everyone liked it. Energy levels are high.
We were completely destroyed by you in scrims. I think we scrimmed you guys like once or twice, and like
we scrimmed you guys like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, like, I swear to God, you guys completely destroyed us every single scrim, and like, I mean, honestly speaking, I think we got destroyed by everyone in Rotterdam because Atto was not even in the lane in the first place. So
I think, I don't know, it was weird because whenever we scrimmed you guys in London, you guys were playing like super confident in scrims, and that type of playstyle destroys us. Whereas when you guys play this in Rotterdam, you guys are trying to play smart, and like we are good against teams that try to play smart.
Yeah, we had a lot, like a big playstyle change, like not big, but something changed, like especially with like Chronic, like he wasn't taking the game serious, so like the playstyle just slowly shifted into him being the third man, just out of like Oski and Atto like stopped trusting him as a player and as a person. So, but like now like we can trust him again, so that's why we can finally play as a 3-player team again. Because
we have 3 coaches from like 3 different perspectives, what is your guys' like ideal scrim situation? Like, is it 4 scrims a day with like 2 hours a break and then 2 more hours, or like what? Like, if you could, without limitation, schooling, all that bullshit, if you were allowed to practice and the players were into it, what is your ideal look? Because to me, I think like a 2-hour block, a break, lunch, you know, chill, come back, 2 more hours. I think that'd be fucking amazing.
I think in a perfect world, if we had franchising, like it's League of Legends, or all in-house, like have our own facility, I think like 2 to 4 hours, like honestly 4 hours is probably good, and then 3 if you're gonna do 3 for like a replay session, or just like chill. You don't need to do like 4 hours every day, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think mostly the thing about the 3 and 4 hours is like what we were saying. It's like there's not enough good teams. Like if there was like, if franchising comes and like it kind of forces like the out of the top 8 teams to like start like just putting all the good players together instead of being like one guy carrying the entire team, maybe the top 16 teams actually start being like scrimmable, and maybe we can start having 3 hours a day. And then the other thing I'd say is having scrim at like 2-3 p.m. because everyone hates having scrims from like 5 to 7 or 6 to 8, and no one likes that. Like it's the worst scrims ever because you just wasted your entire day just to have scrims. Like you can't do anything in a day basically. It's like you finish lunch, you have like 3 hours, then you have scrims.
I'm assuming you guys already scheduled your scrims already for the boot camp. Are you guys like boot camping in the West Coast?
Yeah, but LA. I haven't booked anything honestly.
Are you guys gonna scrim like at 11 a.m. or whatever at that time? Because that's pretty much when you guys are gonna be playing around that time, I think.
Yeah,
that's what we.
You weren't in LA. It's really early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was gonna look into like 2 to 3, 4 p.m. something like that.
Most of the time, I can tell you if you guys are boot camping, most of the teams are gonna be playing anywhere from like 10 to 11 a.m. and on. Like that's when they started. Some were even earlier, depending on where. If they were like East Coasters, but
I mean, I'll ask around if that's what people do. We'll just do it honestly. It doesn't. Yeah. But I was planning on doing after lunch honestly. But if people have to do it in the morning, we do it in the morning.
It was really nice.
I think from LA we scrimmed at like around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. West Coast time. But I know you still play it like early. Yeah.
A lot of the international scrims I covered were like 1 and 2. They aligned almost perfectly with my stream. There was a couple at noon, but for the most part, that was mostly the like OCE teams that were coming in and that were boot camping super fucking hard. So
That's
That was
something
a,
like,
that was a fun time, man. That was a fun time though.
Scrims.
First international land back
oh god, it was a
with
vibe.
like fans. Boot camp was perfect because we didn't make Sweden,
Dude,
so we had to
it was
play
the
all
first
the
time
different
we
talent.
saw international competition, even online, in fucking 3 years without ping being an issue. It was awesome. Those 2 weeks leading up were the best.
Yeah, it was good too because like the Scrims, the only team that ever trolled us was Endpoint. Like, 'cause we had them pre-jump us a lot too, play unrealistic.
I mean, Seiko was on that team too, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and they bombed out too, which is funny. So I mean, you could tell who's trolling and who's not. Usually, whoever's trolling it are the teams that fall through the cracks at least.
But the thing is, like, I don't even think it's like trolling. I just think there's like a lot of like overconfidence in them, and then they go to the regional, and it's like they don't do that. Which is like, dude, I remember like it's one of the things I say. It's like I said it in the last regional. It's like, bro, if you're gonna lose, let's lose at least playing the playstyle. Which is like, bro, you just practice playing with pre-jumps for like 3 months, for example, BDS. Why would you come to the regional and not pre-jump? Like, bro, if you're gonna lose, at least lose how you scrimmed. Like
Yeah.
at least lose knowing that you tried or what the fuck you were trying in scrims, because apparently it was working in scrims. So.
Which is weird that going back to the NA talk of why teams do that in scrims in NA when everyone in NA plays super defensive. So it's like you're asking for a recipe for disaster there. You're gonna lose out.
Who's the worst right now?
Funny.
Is it Furia in NA?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say they're probably the worst. I know we can get there pretty badly sometimes.
We're up there.
I don't
Who's like
know.
the best scrim team in NA?
Best M80 Clang and scrims. They are so good.
Like best in the game. We struggle against like Shopify and scrims, but they never perform. That's one team that just dogs us in scrims.
M80.
Okay. But don't you have like because I don't know, like in the past, like there were a lot of teams like would like clap, but like I feel like at least with us, like, or maybe other teams as well, like in EU right now, the top teams are actually destroying scrims right now. It's the thing I was saying. It's like I feel like EU is actually getting like a barrier of like the top 4, top 5 teams are actually like starting to have a statement and like, yeah, we are here and we're just gonna win everything, and the other teams are just gonna like not be able to like even like mechanically or like playstyle wise be better. Whether before like you would have like a top 16 team come to scrims and just clap you out of the game.
Oh, this split, I don't know. We didn't really have like difficult scrims against top teams. We usually go even, or I mean, every once in a while we'll get bashed by G2, but then some other days we'd bash them. So it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to gauge, but usually the top teams don't completely consistently win all the scrims over here. It feels. I don't know how it is with Nick's team or some of these other teams, but I know for us it's like it's very even.
Our goal is to get 2 games off complexity each hour. That was considered a good hour for us.
Complexity is
you're-
the best scrim team. I will say that Complexity is the best scrim team.
I don't know, man. CR addition on that
but
team,
it's
like,
working now.
I'm glad it's finally like, obviously in fall they had their struggles going on and his dad's health and all that kind of stuff, so you feel for it. But that team, I remember Chrome, you and I talked like during fall split and stuff. And you're like, that team is fucking nasty.
They are. They should have made fall land.
I agree.
Like
I agree.
Circumstances.
Yeah.
And I'm
I'm
surprised
glad
they
they're
made this
living up
land.
to
I've
it.
been saying it for the longest time.
Yep.
Because I have a good intuition when it comes to who's going to do well and who's not. Because I've been doing it for so long. So like I knew for a fact they were just going to do well. Even if they didn't make the fall major, I knew they were going to do well this split. You just tell.
And I like that honestly, because I think like people knowing that like the way you perform in scrims is actually translating into tournaments right now. Actually, like will start making people actually have to try hard scrims.
I've been saying it for the longest time, man. You treat your practice like it's your life's on the line and your tournament life's on the line. You're gonna improve. I mean, look at Gen G, prime example. Team that no other team's ever done that before. Formed out of 3 random players and then had the best mental, best like environment, and they just go on to just win everything. Because everyone's immature, so no one does that. But they showed that you can do that and succeed.
I don't know, because it feels like Gen G just aren't the same level in scrims as they are turning.
Oh, not right now. Yeah, definitely not now.
Level up, man. Because like we'll usually do well against Gen G and G2, and then come tournament, like it's not looking good, right?
Yeah. It seemed like they definitely kind of downgraded in terms of effort. I don't know if it's what's changed, but I know from what I hear they've been getting destroyed in scrims. Whereas the first split they were doing really well against everyone.
Yeah,
I mean,
people have
the
just
thing is,
people have been more exposed to them. Like it's not something new. Like people are obviously gonna make those adjustments. even still, you're talking the only team they lost to is FaZe, who went on to win in that, that fucking quarterfinal match. Like, if they get through FaZe there, like, yeah, expect them in another grand final. They make all 3. Same conversation as K-Corp.
NA just has such a big ego problem as well. Like
I don't think it's ego. Like they had like 120 hours past 2 weeks. Like they can't maintain it.
Overall,
Gen G can't maintain that hours. Like
yeah.
Like if that's like the way they peak by having like a lot of hours, like then
I just don't think Jack can sustain that. I don't know how this boy is playing as much as he is. He's not leaving outside. Luckily his windows are open, so he's getting some fucking vitamin D. But like the dude goes and plays a regional, performs top 2, and then streams another 6 hours after that shit after he just played for 3 to 4 hours. It's like, dude, like, how can you do that for like 4 months straight, 5 months straight? Like, how are you not burnt out? Like, at least
he had a bad environment for the team before. It's the same thing with Noli, man. If you have a bad environment, you want to win.
Noli's at least like going out and experiencing things. Like Noli is, from when I've talked to him and stuff behind closed doors, like he's going out, he's seeing the city, he's trying out new food places. Like yeah, it's mostly retail therapy, which you're able to do when you're getting paid that Mobile One money, but it's still like he is balancing the mental. I don't see Jack out doing other things. Obviously, he's got a significant other, but like it's crazy. I'm worried about
what content does Noli do versus Jack. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference.
That's fair.
Hours in that alone, it's massive.
Fair. I don't know. I'm definitely on the balance of like the mental stuff, and I'm more so worried. Like, okay, say they don't make top 8 consistently, or they only get 8th consistently. Like, what is that gonna do when you've all like 120 hours past 2 is a lot of time to put into something that doesn't pay off, hypothetically. So at least Nolly is going and doing things that, provide that dopamine fix outside of Rocket League, whether it be going and experiencing new food, checking out the city. Like, again, like he's living in a different country. That's got to be super cool to experience those things.
I mean, he wasn't doing that first split. First split, he had like 110 hours or 100 hours 2 weeks.
Nolly was doing that first split.
No, I mean, not as much as he is now.
Oh, he definitely was.
I mean, he used to put in a lot of time now.
Oh yeah.
Or, I mean, back then versus now.
Like, yeah, I mean, I know there needs to be that balance.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the thing. It's like, I think like if they do bad this major, you can see them like grinding like all the way back because they want the results again. But it's like they're winning everything. They come back to a new split. They win the next region. So it's like, what it's in for them, like to actually just keep grinding again. Like they just won the first regional. Like they're like 80% confirmed to make major already. Yeah. So it's like, what's the point of even grinding the game right now? Like just keep up the hours. Like put 40 hours past 2 weeks, you're fine. It's like, obviously they're not gonna grind, but now FaZe comes up. Now they go major. Maybe they don't make top 4. Okay, now there's a reason to put the 120 hours again.
I'm really curious to see how Gen G does this major. I'm really interested. Like, I think they're going to be competitive, but I'm very interested to see, especially with the matchups they may get played.
I mean, I have them playing Liquid first round. I think Liquid takes it in like either 6 or 7.
That'd be a really fucking hype match.
If we play them, like, it's either going to be like a 4-0 for us, or it's going to be like one of the other series ever, because like we are angry, like not angry like as in food, like angry like we're mad because we lost. Like,
yeah, you're good, man. You're good.
Like we should have never lost that series in our life, and it's like if we have to play them, like we're just gonna, like, honestly, in my opinion, like go full brutal at them, and like they're not gonna be expecting you.
I don't know. I think some of those quarterfinal matchups are gonna be like chef's kiss. Like, you're talking about like, what's the reason we watch Rocket League Esports? Blah blah blah. Those quarterfinal matches are going to be the reason. Like, they're that reminder of like, oh yeah, this is why we tune in. Like, this shit's hype. So yeah, I'm excited for some of these games. I think some of these games are going to be absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Players.
Nick was saying now they play Vitality first round.
Yep.
No.
That's going to be a bang.
Wait, actually, do you know something funny about Vitality? If you get
yeah, tell me, hit me.
No. Actually,
he's like 100%. He's got his notepad out. Like,
if you get if Alpha is peaking, bro, GG. There was a scrim, just for you to understand how Alpha peaking is. There was a scrim. We ended the scrim on game 5 because we could not play the game because Alpha was just peaking. We were getting destroyed every single game of the scrim 5-0 because Alpha was just doing everything alone. We were just like, yeah, GG's. This is not gonna work, bro.
Dude, you're not helping this stupid fucking take from Bates being like he's a top.
It, man.
You know, like, I don't want it. I don't want to listen to that take.
Nah, man. We'll install FIFA on the PC. We're good. It was like at work. Daniel's PC, we were chilling.
That needs
Or
to be
that
needs to be like a new like meme post of like, you know, ways to sabotage other teams and shit like that. For Vitality, you gotta install FIFA on every PC. For this team, you gotta like that shit would be so funny.
I mean, you know that like if Vitality lose, there's gonna be memes with like Zen around them or something like them, like
Oh man.
like shadowing them on if you
Just
lose.
looking over the corner like, what's up? I see you. Yeah.
I mean, Alpha definitely is that type of player. If he wants it, he's
Oh, yeah.
that type of player. He's like a Justin, where like if Justin just decides like, oh, I want to destroy everyone, it's the same thing with Alpha. I remember working with Alpha like when I got dropped from NRG for like, I was like at Valencia like scouting teams I want to coach, and then they wanted me to help out at the land because they're playing like G2 or Rogue, and they always lost to those teams.
Mm-hmm.
And like I coached them for a little bit, and this guy just absolutely 1v3'd both teams. Like it was just with ease. That dude is such a freak talent.
Yeah, he's a different breed. And the thing is, like, people don't realize, like, he qualified for LCS the first time playing on a laptop on his bed. So it's like
We when we were in Rotterdam, he was in lobby before we were like headed to the after party and all that kind of stuff. And I like, it had been so long since I'd seen him because we haven't seen like Vitality qualify in fucking forever. So like I was sitting there and I was just like, why do I know his face?
Yeah, Extra and Alpha were both there.
So he looked so familiar, and then we started talking. I'm like, oh my god, it's Alpha. I haven't. Holy shit! And he's just one of those guys that like he's very he's very like inconspicuous in his own right. Like he holds himself to a very high regard, but you would like never know that upon like first glance. Like I don't know. Like he always surprises me in the way that he carries himself, and then you see him on like the motivated side of things, and you're like, oh fuck. Like okay, good luck. Watch out, everybody else. So. I'm happy to see them qualify. I really am. I want to see Alpha on LAN. Straight up. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I just hope he's a slow starter.
You're sick, yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
He did have like a bad second and third regional, so it's like
go play some footies with him, you know, like you'll figure it out. It'll be alright.
I feel like if you guys play with nothing to lose, you guys would do well in your group.
Yeah.
If you guys play like it's your first experience and you're like excited to be there and you don't really care, you know, that's the problem.
Oh yeah, no, like the most I've seen dedicated from this team was at boot camp, which was nice because like what I will say is like we were bad. Like after we got the top 4, our mental just like fell off completely, and like it showed in our results. Like our scrims, we didn't win a scrim for 3 weeks. Like granted, we were finally starting to get top 8 scrims, so we were just scrimming FaZe, G2, all these teams, like, and just getting rolled, right? Which is great because you learn from it, right? But it did take like quite a batter on our mental, and then like you even saw it in quals, like we were losing to like rank A teams.
Yeah, you guys barely made it through. You guys went 3-2
we
or
lost
whatever.
to fucking Mild, Drury, and Monster Warfare. Like, that's not looking good.
I mean, that's what differentiates the bubble teams versus the top teams. Like you got to be able to handle like those tough scrims where you're getting absolutely battered and destroyed, and then know how to bounce back.
Dude, I
that's
remember
what these younger players need to realize.
Chrome was telling me about their scrim results. God, who the fuck was it that you guys were like 0-18 against at one point? Like you did not win a single game in like 3 scrims or some shit.
That's G2 for us, man.
Oh god.
I mean, we don't have. I don't know. We played V1 when we first formed with LJ, and we were like 17-0 against them in games. But
insane.
I mean, we had that with
we've never
Oxygen.
had a team where we just absolutely did not get a single game from. There's never been a team in any iteration of SSG that's ever struggled in scrims like that.
The Oxygen with Oli, I think we only like 3 scrims, we only won like 3 games or something.
Yeah.
So it's like we struggle against Oxygen, and I think it's because Archie's there and Oski's best friends with him, but Oski gets mad at me every time I say it, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, that Oxygen iteration is the only team that's ever really destroyed us in scrims ever.
Is there any like specific player or team that each of you like want to beat more than anybody else?
Complexity.
Well, I mean, I know your guys' track record right now makes sense for that.
I just say Carmine because it's like I mean it's the
They're the top
EU
dog.
duel right now.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure,
it's
sure.
the EU duel right now. It says versus Carmine, saying who's the best right now. So I mean, if you went to another final and you lost to them again, GG, bro.
I don't know. Mine was also always SSG. But like I've told Chrome about that. Like I always went to knock him off. Like that was my like goal.
Whenever we competed at LANs, I mean, we were not competing this one, but I always had the mindset of like we could beat everyone. It's not about who we want to beat. It's like we know we could beat everyone. And it's just like we just gotta get our stuff together and show up. I've never been like, oh, I want to beat Genji so bad to knock them off their high. I've never been like that ever. It's like I know
I feel like
we're capable of, and we can win, and we can do it.
I felt like at least like right now, like scrims from like your own region like not transmit to regionals, but I feel like LAN scrims are just gonna be the same, which is like people are just adapting to like teams they never played against. There might be some shit shows or just some really close matches, and then you go to stage and everything is like completely different. It's like on London, like even though they had like one of the easiest brackets ever, like Optic made top 8. And I remember like Roldies was watching a scrim against Optic, which there was another chaos. Like, why are teams allowed to watch each other? But we didn't even care because every single game it was like 7-0. Like, we didn't 7-0 the scrim, no. We 7-0 every single game. Some games even went to 9, 10 goals, like every single game. It's like, how is this team making top 8? And it's like, maybe they were just bad in scrim. So, like, we just understand, like, scrim results in lane is just shit, honestly.
With certain teams, I feel like in Rotterdam, I feel like every team that we scrimmed was pretty on par with what they were going to do at the event. I feel like that was the only land that I felt like that, though. I agree with you. Yeah, like scrimming the Optic team was like, how did these guys get here?
I mean, everybody felt that same way at Worlds with Endpoint. I know everybody was like, yeah, it's a fraudulent team. I shouldn't be here. Kind of like, obviously people have their opinions about like the representation of the region and the weakest team. Is there any teams that Xperia and Nick, you guys are really excited to scrim? Just for like exposure reasons, or
FaZe, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I need to beat FaZe so I can trash talk Police for like 3-4 months.
FaZe is a weird team to scrim because we do well against them in scrims, but I feel like sometimes whenever we scrim them, they just like completely just play to play. They don't like it doesn't feel like they're trying. That's like the annoying part of scrimming that team. They're the only team I feel at the top that does that.
I feel like they have a lot of egos in that team. That's it.
For sure.
I feel like first killer is like the least ego of the team, so it's like I think that already says something.
Probably Liquid and Oxygen, and Secret, because I have a huge amount of respect for that team and like how they work. But
that's cool.
How do you feel about Secret? Because you said you had the same playstyle as him.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. Like we've definitely not taken and copy and pasted, but like taken values. And like talking to Bruno, like right after they beat Moist, I want to say when they went 3-1, right? Like hearing him talk and hearing him like just how he thinks about everything was really interesting, and obviously it translated super well. Like it's why I think they personally would do better in NA probably than like Furia are doing right now, or like. Yeah, I guess just Furia. Because Complexity I always thought they were good. They just had everything go against them this season. Last season, they just didn't care, right? Or like after the fall, they didn't care. Secret's interesting. I really think they can recreate it. I love KV1. I think that kid is unreal. Sad's been a player I've seen grow since he came into the league. And like, that's a dude I know is going to care a lot, considering like his start. He quite literally didn't play the first 2 regionals just so he could stick with like his team that was turning 15 right when he turned 15. And Knight's always been quite good. Like I just think that team is very much, they work hard. They do what they need to do. They understand their their limitations better than any other team. Like they understand they're not favorites and they understand what they have to do to win. Like one thing
is like,
you go, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Because I think I was gonna say it's like they made top 4. They were definitely doing something. I think it's like was like the first match against us, just like them warming up to the major or what? Because like when we played them, we legit felt like we were not playing a major team. We just felt like we were playing like a qualifier team from a U qualifier. Because like nothing they were doing was good. So, like we just like, I'm telling you, like we were not celebrating goals. The game was over. We didn't even scream. We just said, "Okay, boys, nice," and we went to like fist bump them. It's like we didn't feel that we were playing a major match or even a major team. That's why I ask. It's like, was it like their first match? They were nervous. They didn't perform, or I don't know. 'Cause it's like.
I don't think they should ever made top 4. Like V1 played like utter butt.
I mean,
Credit, but they made it top 8.
Credit to Secret. You know, they made a pretty solid run. They went through Space Station, right? Moist and.
Oh yeah, Chrome can help. Yeah,
I can give you guys the lowdown of what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they did what no one expected, right? I mean, realistically, do you realistically see them doing it this event? No. Like the cards fell into their hands, right? They lose to Liquid. Who do they play second round? They play
Quad.
what?
Quadrant. 3-0.
Yeah, Quadrant,
Quadrant's a
3-0
free win, I think, for any team.
yeah.
And then they play us. We were mentally checked before the series. I mean, I don't want to go into detail. Maybe down the line in the future I will, but
That'll
we
be
were
on the
mentally
next show.
checked.
Everybody watching. Everybody's watching and
They
listening. That'll
beat
be the
us,
next time.
and then they beat a Moist, who is throwing things at the wall and hoping it sticks. Because then when they played them again, Moist destroyed them because they figured out what they needed to do in that moment. Because Moist were a team that didn't know what they wanted to do prior to the event. And then they tried a bunch of things and it worked out. And they made they went 3-2 in the Swiss and barely made it, right? So they obviously didn't know what they were doing. And then they played a V1 where Calm is going into the LAN with low hours. And then on top of that, the vibes on that team, you already tell it's like they're not on the same page. If you look at like how they were in like previous lanes, they're always hype and stuff like that.
So that series was
When you look at them now, they were like super tense and like, because that's the first time they can get like a good placing, you know? Because like if you think about it, V1's like whole performance, that whole split where Mickey runs, they didn't play like any of the good teams and beat them consistently outside of like one time Beast Mode dragged V1 to a finish against Furia, and then they managed to win that regional somehow because they played Energy in the semis. And they pretty much had Mickey runs that whole time, and then going into that LAN, they had a Mickey run Quadrant. What else did they play?
They played us, they beat us.
Yeah, Mickey run exactly.
Nah, but we with the place how we played, we struggled against any teams. No, it's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah. No, it's true because like whenever I scrimmed Liquid that event, I was confident playing against Liquid if they played like that.
Yeah, it's like
V1 is very very similar to us, and if Liquid played their style that they played at London, like kind of like what Oxygen did that event, like super aggressive and just ball chase and being annoying, they probably would have beat V1 in my opinion.
I didn't realize. Yeah, you guys Liquid. You guys played the exact same teams essentially to make it through. You guys both beat Quadrant. You both beat Power. And then you played each other. That's the difference maker between playing that extra match or not.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Talking about Rotterdam.
What do you mean you play the same teams? Like
you guys got two out of your 3 wins against the same rosters, but the head to head was.
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually, what the fuck? I
think that performance of Secret is pretty fraudulent, in my opinion. They're great guys. Don't get me wrong. It's not about that. It's about like what I think analytically.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was asking. It's like it's the thing. It's like we didn't celebrate. I remember we didn't celebrate a single goal after the first game because we weren't. It didn't feel like a major. We were just like warm up Scrim on stage. Like, oh,
I look at them very similar to us. Like they counted their cards and it worked, right? So, like coming into this split, like we knew we could take down teams because NA looked really shit. Like to be honest, right? Like SSG didn't look great. V1 didn't look great. Optic, and like Furia were losing all the scrims in Brazil, let alone North America. Like no one in NA really looked good, right? Like
you think it was because of Rise, or because I remember when V1 were doing shit, I messaged Rise on Steam and I said, "You fucked him up nice."
Yeah. Shout out Rise, bro gave Evo a career.
No, he definitely like I know it's a meme, but it's actually true. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
It's for sure true. Once you do that to certain teams, especially like the mental in NA, like how everyone is culturally, everyone's young and like they're not very like I don't know. There's like no camaraderie in a lot of teams, so it's like once you do that, you can pretty much destroy a team easily. So it's like it's no surprise that.
Okay, so that's the plan. Okay, I'll tell someone else to do it again.
Yeah, where's
it's a good strategy.
Yeah, where's a Chronic going next split? Wink, wink. Like, which lane team?
It's a meme, but it is true. It's so true.
That's out of phase. Whatever roster.
Who to phase?
Well, you gotta send a Chronic to Gen G, Oski to G2. That's out of phase, right? Just like completely run.
Yeah, you guys are gonna do the fucking VC bamboozle of 2023. Be like, yeah, like we can't afford it anymore. We're disbanding the play, and then you guys all just say, just kidding, we got Series A funding, and then you're back together.
20 minutes before the fucking window closes.
Script's been written. You guys, oh fuck, you guys would get chastised so
I think
hard.
like FaZe would not learn how to speak Atto English because Atto doesn't speak English. He speaks Atto's English. It's a different type of English.
It's funny.
It's like sometimes we're having conversations, like deep conversations on the call, and he's just quiet. He just said, "I don't understand," and just goes quiet. And it's like if it's Rocket League related, he'll like understand every single thing, but if it's not Rocket League related, he'll just like stay quiet in his corner. Just yeah, I'm just here.
You have a diamond in the rough of your team environment. I'm jealous.
Yeah. I think mainly it's because of the way like I always like dealt with things. And I remember like even the first bootcamp we had with Oski, he was like super shy. And I was like, bro, stop being shy. You are like a fucking moron in online, and now why are you being shy? That's like I think I just because the way I am, I'm just like I just say I'm a clown basically. Yeah, I just say shit. So it's like I think kind of like because they're growing up like alongside me, it's just like they just build that same vibe.
From like a old gen kind of perspective, obviously I am much older than a lot of you guys in the space. It is really cool to kind of just see that development, like from land to land and stuff like that, especially after the 3-year break we had, or the 2-year break after season 8, I think it was, to see like how much everybody has grown over the years. I mean, fuck, I've known Chrome for what, 6 years, something like that, or some shit.
Since 2015.
Yeah. So even like that, like Chrome has grown up in front of me. It is crazy to see the development and how he's become.
Not really.
Like,
I was 23 when I met you, and I'm like 29, about to be 30.
Yeah,
That's
like
fucking
old as
but,
shit.
but it's crazy, man. Like even like you look at some of the OGs like Garrett, Jay Naps, all those guys. Like those guys were literally 15, 16, and now they're early 20s. Like significant others moving into houses. Like it's wild. Like I remember we went to Vegas in season 6, and Lichinio and Dapper showed up, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm just finishing up my first year of college," and I'm like, "When the fuck did you get into college? Like what do you mean you're going to college?" Like you are seeing these people become young adults, truly, that are fending for themselves and have that life experience and in a very different perspective. So the fact that you have people to share that with and go through that experience with, I'm so fucking happy for you. That shit's awesome.
And I hope that like those players like Garrett and Squish and just like they actually like even if like something happens on the team, like they actually like stick around in the scene, because like we really need like these players to actually like
J Naps is gonna be 24 in September. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Like players like J Naps, like just prove the season. The everyone is like, you can be a pro until like 28, 29, or Chrome right now is saying he's 29. Like he can still be a coach for like many more years if he wants to. It's like, dude, like we don't need to like be 24 and already be thinking about retirement. It's like in CS:GO, Kerrigan won a major at 31. It's like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Bro,
no, I think the age gap, depending if Rocket League lasts that long, will definitely really some of the players can reach the late 20s. Because I mean, I was 25 when I was playing. I think I'm the oldest pro. I played at an RLCS event. 25.
There was a guy from APAC, I think.
He doesn't count.
Or SSA.
Right, come on, let's be realistic.
How dare you take that away from? What the fuck? How dare you take that away from? I have to Google his name.
I'm the oldest. Let's be realistic. Actual developed region, and all the eyes are on the region. No, Karma was the oldest pro in the online league, but not.
Yeah,
she's
not
never
at
made a
LAN.
LAN.
Yeah, playing at an RLCS event. I forget the guy from SSA or APSC or for whatever it was, but yeah, Chrome's old as fuck. He's ancient. That's what we got.
Yeah, wait, I'll see his name actually.
I swear it's an SSA player. It wasn't Skill Steel. Was
yeah,
it
it's SSA.
One of the Orlando Pirates guys.
God, those guys were so nice. They gave me a
they're
hat
fucking
at
awesome.
Worlds.
Yeah, I don't mean any disrespect for any of that. Like super nice dudes.
I feel so bad when all those teams like want to scrim, and I'm like, guys, it's just not going to be beneficial for us to scrim you guys. And I don't ever want to tell them that. I just ignore them. But like, you know what I mean? Like it sucks.
We gave them one.
No, we don't.
We scrimmed one APAC team in London, and that's it. That's the only time we ever scrimmed.
Like I think we like even like the one of the players from Crew the other day went to my stream and he said like, "Are we streaming you guys?" And I was like, "I don't know about that one. Maybe one time, but I don't think so." It's like we don't really gain anything from streaming those teams. It's like we can get probably double or triple scrims with the best teams a week. So why would we be screaming? Or even like I think it's more beneficial for us to even scream SSG than scream Crew, for example. Like why would we be screaming Crew? And I know like there's way better teams in NA that gonna give us way better scrim results or way better practice. So it's like
I don't know.
Same thing when London, Rotterdam, like you can scream like like in London, you could be scrimming Dignitas that were not in London, and it's way better practice in scrimming like the APAC team, the SAM teams, the whatever teams are there.
Crew are good. We've scrimmed them once, and they looked really.
Yeah, I'm not saying the.
No,
I'm
like
not saying,
I genuinely think they would be very solid.
He's just saying it more so like why scrim crew when I can scrim phase.
Yeah.
Or a T like G2 or etc.
If I need the spot and crew can scrim in that spot, then I'll message them. But if I can fill out every single spot against teams that on paper are better than them, then I'm obviously gonna do that.
Right. Yeah, I think
for us.
The difficulty is everybody wants the blue ribbon participation, sunshine and rainbows. Like, it is truly not your guys' job to accommodate and bring up the level of competition. While it's good to expose yourself to it, mentality-wise and all that kind of stuff, it is not your job to prop up the lower talent. And that's not meant to be disrespectful, but it just realistically isn't worth your time. Like, why would I make this other team better, which completely goes against everything that I need to happen? Like, it just, I don't know. Like,
I never understood that too. Like the
like
consensus too with the media, or like even in Reddit and all that. It's like, oh, they have egos. They don't. It has nothing to do with ego. It's just like there's more downside than upside to scrimming those teams.
Like, that's the benefit of being a team that gets to go to a major or a world champion, is you do get exposed to those just by simply getting to play, and you make those rounds count. You save those replays. You take everything you can out of those and being exposed to those things. But
yeah, that's why I say APAC teams don't get anything from actually making majors. Just go there, get destroyed, don't get any scrims. They're probably scrimming the top 16 teams in EU because that's the only people that are scrimming them. So at the end of the day, are they really getting better at the game, or are they only getting better at the game because teams like Elevate join the scene and make them actually elevate the game? Okay, that was a good job.
Hey, put him on the desk.
I mean, he is right. I mean, only like developing regions and other esports like Valorant, like Korea, all those teams, like they actually play at LANs multiple times a year, so they're getting experience. Yeah. And that's how OCE got decent at Rocket League too, is because they went to all these events.
Yeah, and then the players left.
They're going to one event every 3 months if they're lucky. Then they're not really gaining anything from their region.
Yeah. Look at Elevate. Everyone was saying, okay, finally a team from APAC that can make something. They go there, they go 0-3 every single game. Dude, I can tell you, they didn't learn anything from that. Probably teams weren't even tryharding at the maximum. They were just taking out to the scrim game. They probably didn't even get scrims. I mean, maybe they did because it's Vert and he has the connections from you. But that's not practice.
I mean, we had to scrim them before our club series on that. I think it was the Saturday, because we had no other warm up. So.
You know what's the thing? Apparently, Quadrant got clapped on scrims by them. I think Elevate went like 6-1 in scrims against Quadrant, so I think they were like super confident to actually do something.
Quadrant, I don't know. We didn't. I don't know. That team was. I don't know how they made land. To be honest, they were not good. In my opinion.
I mean, they were almost about to make lane again, so I don't know.
I mean, EU I feel like EU just has a strong like 4 teams.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's like.
Might change in the future, but yeah.
It's not North America in a nutshell right now, though.
Oh, right now, yeah, but before it's never been like that. This is the only split it's ever been like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was top 5. Now it's just one of the, like, 2 of those teams fell off and 1 replaced them. Like, at least in my eyes. Like, NA is very much top 4, right? And then you have 5 through 12, give or take. And then good luck, like, guessing who's actually making the regionals. Like, that's all it is.
Realistically, like, we should have been at 15. If you go off like win percentage, we had the highest win percentage out of all the teams in comparison that were in that range, but like we just weren't a good team, so it didn't matter. So then the better team took the position over us, which was Dignitas. So
but is Percy like that good? Because someone, I think
Percy
it was
is very good.
Said on
he's
on Twitter,
alright.
like,
He's alright.
He's good,
like,
but I think he is reliable. He's relying on his surroundings too. He needs some help in order to really get the most out of him. But I think he's very talented.
I think the problem with a lot of those type of players, they're good, but they play for the team and not for themselves, so they never experience that like factor of where they just hard carry a team. And usually when you're that type of system player, most of the time if your team's just not doing well, you're not really gonna do well. It's just how it is.
Same thing with Hoxer.
They'll show up one series and be like, oh my god, they got top 8 this event, and then the next event they'll bottle out because it's just not consistent.
Controversial take. I feel like Kensei's done a huge amount for that roster. Like, I feel like he really lets the other two shine. That dude really is good at the dirty work.
I mean,
I'm
he's
just asking because
definitely.
I don't watch NA.
I mean, you're not missing much. It's the same thing. I don't really watch you that much because I don't feel like I'm missing much either.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. That's a point.
The ego of these guys, I tell you. All right,
No,
boys.
just,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But boys,
I'm just saying,
I've
I've been here forever.
I've
I know.
literally gone through a 3-hour and 20-minute lo-fi playlist, and it's over. So I think that is a good time to say, okay, let's call it, because I know we could all talk Rocket League and shoot the shit, and we're probably going to continue to do so. But
I might show up at the land so we could talk then too.
yeah,
so.
I think that's the play. So again, appreciate you boys hanging out and shooting the shit. Again, this isn't even like a podcast. This is just me this morning being like, fuck, I want to talk shop about majors and this and that with some coaches. And then you guys were like, sure, why not? So appreciate you guys answering the call and responding spur of the moment, and a lot of fun. I know chat, again, you can't call it a W podcast when others said it's not a podcast. Come on. But no, I think it's always cool for the viewers, like, there is no speculation here. There is no questioning. It is just straight up, like, all y'all having candid answers, and it is backed by tons of experience. You've lived it. So I think for the general public that is constantly speculating about what's going on in this and that, to have people who are more than willing to come in and just be like, yeah, playing with this player fucking sucked, is awesome. So appreciate y'all taking the time. And for those that are watching that may have missed it, I'll just export this in full. I'm not going to edit any of it, and I'll just throw it on the YouTube channel for anybody who missed any of it and got aged. But seriously, guys, socials are behind and underneath all the people. Those are their Twitters. Go follow them. Makes it nice and easy, I think. Chrome's is actually probably not that. His is probably Chrome RL, now that I think about it.
Yeah, Chrome RL, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. It's Chrome RL. Go
I don't
check
matter
that.
anymore for the rest of the split.
I put your name in caps, but I forgot to, dude. I finished up a really big workout, so like pre-workout had me like yelling, so that's why I guess I typed your name caps, but then I forgot the other letters, and then I saw experience, and I'm like, fuck, that's a lot. So I copy and pasted, and then from there I just went downhill. So yeah, appreciate you boys taking the time. I'm sure we'll have more roundtable discussions, whether it be on camera, off camera, or at events. But it's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate you boys taking the time, and hope to do it again soon in the most informal settings, because those are when it's the most fun.
And best of luck at the event, guys. Obviously,
Yeah,
probably
seriously.
won't be talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, hope to attend and see you boys there and be able to and tell you congrats and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think you guys have a lot of really exciting stuff coming ahead. A lot of work to